Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Let's get nasty on a Wednesday in the Fast Lane with Bradford Bruns, Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis. The time is 2:03. That time check is brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. We have a great show today. We have Brad Thompson joining us, Blues color analyst Joey Vitale joining us, and former ace of the St. Louis Cardinals, Adam Wainwright, joining us at some point in the 2 o'clock hour. And we're talking about aces. Waino started many opening days for the St. Louis Cardinals, and we, fellas, have our opening day starter for the 2026 season.
Yes, indeed.
Matthew Liberatore. How are we feeling about Libby getting the opening day start for our St. Louis Cardinals?
I think it's great. Good for him. I thought what he did last year showed us the potential, and I know you hate that word, Carey, but
I do hate potential.
You do hate that word.
It's a dirty word in sports, Marsha. You know that. It's not a four-letter word, but it's a bad word.
It's a dirty word.
It's a dirty word, man.
We'll have to clean up our mouths here in this first segment.
Yesterday.
But Matthew Liberatore, what he did yesterday, there were points throughout the season where you're like, it doesn't look too great. He finished the year 8-12, 4.21 ERA. But I'm excited for Matthew Liberatore. The whole trade that went down a few years ago that brought him over here, we were talking in the office how poetic it is that he is ultimately going to be the opening day starter against the Tampa Bay Rays, the team that traded him to the St. Louis Cardinals. So I'm really excited for him. Are you shocked that maybe Dustin May wasn't the guy that got the nod?
I'm very shocked. I thought that Dustin May would be your opening day starter. I thought he had done, more than enough this spring training to kind of warrant that opportunity. And I felt like that was what he was brought here for. I mean, he's your highest paid player, if I'm not mistaken. He's definitely your highest paid pitcher. I thought that this would be the opportunity for him. But I'm actually excited for Matthew Liberatore because, as you spoke about the trade, we've talked ad nauseum about, Randy Arozarena, and now here we are. Opening day starter for the 2026 season is Matthew Liberatore, and it's a great opportunity for him.
Seniority reigns within the organization as it relates to Liberatore. Hey, I think, guys, that what we saw, obviously, in the first half of last season, heck, the first couple of months in particular, we were really enthusiastic. We were optimistic about the growth of Matthew Liberatore, and down the stretch we understood that he became fatigued, that the stuff wasn't quite there, but it was his first full season of trying to actually take the reins, take that baton at the MLB level, and try to fulfill that potential that Tampa Bay saw when that organization made him the 16th pick back in 2018. This season, you don't want to say that it's a fresh slate, but I think basically empowering him in a way with this opening day start. You've got the pomp and circumstance. You're out there against the former organization, Tampa Bay, and you're saying, all right, Libby, at least for game number one, and I don't know ultimately if it matters between Liberatore and May. You could flip-flop them 1 and 2. To me, that's kind of immaterial. But it's just another sign of the confidence that is being projected toward this young man. And for me, guys, if he is somebody who can at least match or exceed the production of a Dustin May, we know having somebody from that critical left side with potentially wipeout stuff, it's enticing, good for him, good for the organization for committing to him right now, and we'll see just how many strides he can make in 2026.
Yeah, I think it's a great opportunity for him. It's a big season. Obviously, every year it is, but to be the opening day starter for the Cardinals, we talked about, the fanfare and how exciting that moment is for all of St. Louis fans. And I'm sure it's for players, it's as exciting as well. But to do it against your former team, that has to mean something also. The team that traded you away. And again, we've had this conversation over and over again about that specific trade and who got the better of it. Randy Arozarena is no longer with the Rays. He's moved on to a different team, and Liberatore is still here. So it's a great moment for him to try to prove to, I think, the St. Louis Cardinal fans, to the organization, to the former team that traded him away, that, he does deserve this opportunity. And who knows, maybe he will be the ace of this staff. We've had multiple conversations about how many guys in this starting rotation, if any, would be 10-plus game winners. Maybe Matthew Liberatore is saying, hey, don't forget about me, and he can start that with this first day, opening day start versus the Tampa Bay Rays.
Yeah, and if he runs with it, then we have to reassess, just how long it takes for players and pitchers to develop, and we have to give them some time to ultimately develop. And I think that we've grown sour of that over the last few years, seeing players that we have hyped up, or at least the organization hyped up, the media. I guess we are the media, but those types of players and they not work out. We're seeing Matthew Liberatore take incremental steps to become a better pitcher. So I'm really hoping that it works out for him this season. When we look at the rotation now, the whole rotation is set. Congratulations to Kyle Leahy, who was in the bullpen last year, and I thought he did really well down the stretch. He will now be in the rotation. What are your thoughts on all 5 guys?
Well, he celebrated in style today, Leahy, that is. 5 frames, 6 punch-outs as at present. The Cardinals actually have jumped ahead 4-1 over the Astros for what it's worth. But we've talked about Liberatore and May, certainly, to open the show. And those are the guys in whom you have to place the trust to be your pillars at the top of the rotation. It's a season of development this time around. Yes, still the continued development for Matthew Liberatore. But when speaking specifically, Marshy, of a Kyle Leahy and what you can do, the trajectory for that matter, an Andre Palante, a Michael McGreevy. It goes without saying, frankly, everybody believed Michael McGreevy, control artist that he is, would be in place among the starting 5 to begin this season. Now, the question marks pertain to Leahy as well as Palante. Would it be Palante or Richard Fitz breaking camp? And while the stuff for Richard Fitz, guys, it consistently played in his 3 starts down in the Grapefruit League, the numbers are what they are. Andre Palante simply went out there so far through the tune of his first 4 starts, and he has been very, very solid. Not spectacular, but that's not the guy you're expecting to man a spot at the back end of your rotation. In my estimation, Palante has done nothing so far this spring to dissuade you from at least putting him in that group, Carey, of the starting 5 to begin the season. And then a number of different things obviously can happen. You have 5 idle dates between next Thursday and that series opener versus Seattle on April 24th. You have injuries. You have ineffectiveness. For me right now, Fitz projects as that guy who's going to inherit the AAA version initially of the Michael McGreevy role to open 2026, and sooner rather than later, you know he's going to be called upon anyway.
Yeah, he was optioned down, and as you said, he performed pretty well, but obviously last year they went with a 6-man rotation to start the season, and this year they decided against it. So Richard Fitz will probably be in that role where he's on that Memphis shuttle, kind of going back and forth and filling in a void when and where needed. So I don't think that the story of the starting rotation has been cemented. It's not written in stone just yet. We still got a lot of movement, I'm sure, throughout this entire season. You always have some type of injuries, knock on wood, hopefully not too many.
Sure.
But then you have poor performances, and you have guys that are performing well in the minor leagues that obviously that eventually get their opportunity. So I think we still have a lot of wiggle room for Dick Fitz there, if you know what I mean. We'll see where he ends up being, whether it's with the big league club or in the minors, and how long it takes for him to get there. You guys like that one? No? All right.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
I'm just asking.
Carey, I thought we established at the beginning of the show that
We're talking baseball.
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Did you
Richard
not have
Fitz.
language issues yesterday? Isn't that what you implied, right? Some language issues I wasn't hearing.
I am only responsible for what you hear, not what I say. I mean, no. I'm only responsible for what I say, not what you hear.
There you go. Interpretation. That's a different
I'm
subject.
responsible for what I say,
Carey,
not what you hear.
You did say at one point that this team could be a 120-game winner.
I actually did.
You did say that. I don't know if you were
Believe it in
joking
my
or not.
Why not?
Well,
Look at these guys.
It starts with this rotation.
It starts with opening day.
It does.
On Thursday.
You got to set the tone.
You got to set the tone, man.
Where are the glasses?
8
You
days
had
away.
to have said that with the glasses
You know what?
on.
I have not seen those glasses.
Where are they?
I think somebody threw the glasses away. I think
probably
they threw
did. Probably for the
blue
best.
glasses away.
We're missing the glasses.
And the
We're
red
missing
glasses.
a cowboy hat. What's going on in this
I don't know
studio?
what we're doing.
Well, the
man.
conductor hat is still here.
Right,
Hopefully
that
nobody
needs
puts
to
that
be
on.
Burned.
It does.
We've established that. I think BK put that on last year or 2 years ago.
Something like that.
It's bad, man. You don't wear the conductor hat anymore. That's a bad time. That's Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns. I'm Carey Davis. We are going to hopefully have, depending on when this game ends, hopefully have Adam Wainwright joining us next segment. So if the game is over and he's able, we'll
over.
have Wayno coming up next on 101 ESPN.
We want to hear from you. Use the Scott Lee Mic Drop feature on the 101 mobile app. Give us your opinion on anything St. Louis sports with a mic drop.
Brought to you by the Scott Lee Heating Company.
Nominate yourself to be the Morning After Listener of the Month, and you could be selected and score a Form Energy prize pack. Sign up now at 101ESPN.com or TMASTL.com. The TMA Listener of the Month Club is presented by Form Energy. We do the work. Strap yourself in. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane with Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns. I'm Carey Davis, and we are efforting Adam Wainwright. He should be joining us sometime in the 2 o'clock hour. But for now, fellas, we saw the WBC end in thrilling fashion. If you are a fan of Venezuela, that was a really good game. It was an exciting 8th inning, 9th inning. Like it went very well, but unfortunately, it was in the favor of Venezuela.
Yeah, it was. I thought that the game, especially in the 8th inning when Bryce Harper deposited one into the seats, I'm like, this is what I'm talking about, man. But they ultimately couldn't close it out. And, I think it was disappointing for the United States, but you watched how excited those players were for Venezuela. You have to be happy for them. Overall, I thought it was a great baseball game.
And we are going to go to the Collier and Thompson phone line and talk to former ace St. Louis Cardinals starting pitcher Adam Wainwright. Wayno, how you doing, man? Glad to have you on.
I'm doing great, fellas. The Cardinals just won a spring training game and nothing to complain about.
We were watching. We saw the finale, and we were assuming you might be calling as soon as it was over, so we appreciate you joining us. We were talking earlier about opening day starter and Matthew Liberatore getting the nod his first time as an opening day starter. You started many opening days during your St. Louis Cardinals tenure. Just talk to me about what that moment means for a pitcher like Matthew Liberatore or any pitcher getting the opening day start.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just another start in actuality, but there's a real cool honor about being an opening day starter. It's just only 29 guys in the whole world get to do that besides you, and to be on a great team and have the opportunity to go out there the first day, set the pace, go ahead and get the ball started the right direction. I always felt like this day you're not going to make the playoffs or not make the playoffs based off today, but you can send a message right away, and you get to do that as opening day starter. It's a tremendous honor. It's something and it's just a notch on the belt too. Like for the rest of your life, you could always say you're an opening day starter, and there's something cool with that.
Adam, we just watched the Cardinals, of course, win a spring training game. Last night, unfortunately, Team USA could not get it done in the WBC. You were able to put on the red, white, and blue. What were your thoughts just on the tournament as a whole and then what we witnessed last night against Venezuela?
Well, I think the tournament's amazing. It's gotten better and better. I think that you see a bunch of guys playing for country. A bunch of guys playing unselfish ball on all the teams. I mean, last night you saw the Venezuelan players crying. And it just meant a lot to their country. And I know our guys in our locker rooms over there. I got to see them for a couple of days. I called the USA Brazil and USA Great Britain games, and talking to those guys, man, it means a lot to them, And I remember in 2023, I got to be on that team, and when the crowd's chanting USA, USA, that was not something I had ever experienced before, and it hit me. It hit me hard, And it's you saw probably saw Paul Skeen's letter and what it meant to him, and all the players there. They want to win. It's a deeper level, and it's a different kind of wanting to win than goes on in the regular season. It's really special.
Adam, you went to bat for your skipper in 2023, Mark DeRosa, in light of those comments before the Italy game. And frankly, it was a subject that a lot of people couldn't get past, really. Now, having been one of his guys in 2023, tell us why Mark DeRosa was the right man for the job and potentially still moving forward for the American group.
Yeah, and I like you said, I went to bat for him on Twitter the other day on X, and what I said was this: like, you're asking a manager to, hey guys, everybody come in, we got to start playing meaningful games in like 3 or 4 days, but everybody needs to mesh, gel, and play together as one unit. Like, I just don't know if there's anybody in the world who's as good as that, as Mark DeRosa in that. He was a wizard at that when he was playing. I was a teammate of his in 2009 with the Cardinals, and I got to know him really well when I was on my time with the Atlanta Braves as well. And, it's just he is a glue guy. He's one of those guys that they call the pulse of the clubhouse. That is when he's in there, it's lively. Everything is smooth, and everything is, everybody's having a great time. Everybody's laughing, and everybody's, it's just it's an easy atmosphere to get loose around. I'll say that. All right. So the other thing is the simple fact of this matter is when I've been in that situation. I've been in WBC. I've covered it now from the media side. I've covered it from the player side. When you're in his situation, you're surrounded by people all day long that are telling you what the situation is. So, like, even if let's just say for a second he didn't know what the situation was. Well, you know who did? The 20 guys asking him questions all day long. They're giving him the scenarios. They're asking him, what do you think about playing this team, or who are you going to start if it's this guy, or if it's lefty on the mound, blah, blah, blah. And it's also, situationally like, all right, it looks like, you're going to have to do this, or this to get in. They're asking him all those questions. And not to mention that, he's got a group of USA employees around him at all times. He's got a whole team of players. I mean, like, look, it's just that the math of it is not mathing that he didn't know the actual situation. Now, I think it's entirely possible that he did for a second, maybe, but not in actuality. But let's just throw that out. Let's just say he didn't know. He wouldn't have done anything different. On his first day there, he said, my biggest job in this role as managing this team of superstars is honoring everybody who's here, because they're taking time away from their teams. They're taking time away from trying to get ready for the season to be here. Everybody wants to play. Everybody's qualified to play. Everybody's a superstar, and they should play. And I've got to get some of these guys at bats. And so, the day that he sat down 3 or 4 of the great players, he said he played PCA, who ended up having a much bigger role going forward because he hit 2 home runs that day. And Gunnar Henderson having a bigger role going forward because he hit a home run that day. And so just like, look, it's not an easy thing. If you win, everybody loves you. And if you don't, everybody's trying to figure out why you should be on the hot seat. Mm-hmm. That's part of what comes with the job. And he understood that.
We're on with former Cardinals ace Adam Wainwright. And Waino, I wanted to ask you, this season for the Cardinals is probably going to be drastically different from any of your 18 years going into the season. There are lower expectations because there's a younger team and there's going to be a lot of growth. What are your expectations from this team in terms of the starting pitching staff specifically?
Well, I think this team's going to pitch really well. Just in my short time being here, I think you're going to have 4 or 5 starting pitchers that really surprise people. I think you've got a couple of kind of hidden gems in that rotation that might win 14, 15 games if they can put enough runs on the board. I think the starting rotation is going to be great. I really do believe the starting rotation will be quality. I think the bullpen will be quality. I think the biggest question mark is, can they score enough runs? I think they're going to play good defense. They've got some team speed. I think that from a starting pitching standpoint, though, like from what I've seen 3 out of the 5 right now on the mound so far. I've been really impressed. I mean, the way Liberatore is spinning his breaking balls right now is an all-time PR for him. It's just really, really great. I saw Palante today. They told him he made the team. He goes out there and throws the best bullpen of his life. I just watched starting pitcher today. I think he's going to win 15 games this year. I really do. I mean, I think they're going to surprise some people in some ways. I do think there's a lot of question marks on the offense, though.
Yeah, Kyle Leahy, that the Cardinals pitcher that started today, 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs at all. He's a guy coming from the bullpen. What will be his biggest obstacle this season going from the bullpen to a starting job?
Well, I think they're very confident in him because he's been a starter in the past. Mm-hmm. I know a little bit about that. I started as a starter, went to the bullpen, came back as a starter. He knows how to do that. But what I was really impressed with was the pitch mix the ability to throw strikes with all his pitches. He faced Houston's A lineup today. I mean, he struck out Yordan Alvarez on a front door sinker that was just nasty. But he's thrown some good breaking balls, 2 or 3 different varieties of breaking balls for strikes when he wants them, for balls when he wants them, and his pitchability is just through the roof. So, but he's throwing hard too, man. This guy's sitting 94, 95, but he's breaking off nasty breaking balls and moving the ball in and out. Up and down, it's really all you can ask for as a pitcher, you know? And so I think when you see a guy, it doesn't matter what role they're thrown into. If they can make pitches like that, then they can pitch anywhere.
Adam, we had Kyle Gibson on yesterday. He talked to us about Big League Impact. I know you all are always doing wonderful things. You do things during the football season with Big League Impact, and right now you got something going on for March Madness.
Yeah, we do, and I've been telling everybody that this is our first ever bracket challenge. My brother, when my brother and I were just the ones running this, he reminded me that we had done a couple of these bracket challenges a long time ago, but it was long enough ago that I didn't remember it. But it's the first time in a while we're doing a bracket challenge. You can check it out at www.bigleagueimpact.org/March Madness. It's $15 for one and $25 for two, and you can enter as many as you want to, obviously. But all proceeds go to Big League Impact, and we're going to be giving away some really cool prizes, tickets to games and meet and greets on the field, game of your choice, and it's going to be a fun bracket. The teams this year look really strong. I'm in a bracket with a few of my kids as well too, so. It should be fun to keep up with it, but we're really excited about it. You know, it's just a fun way to engage more fans, and there's going to be lots of big league players playing in the bracket challenge as well too. So we'd love to have people join in and raise some great money for charity.
Adam, how do you feel about your bracket? Who do you have winning the national championship?
Say that one more time. Sorry.
Who do you have winning the national championship this year?
I've filled out a couple of them. I've got Florida winning one. And I've got Arizona winning one, and I think I've got Michigan in my other one. I think I've filled out 3, and I think the one I'm doubting right now, and it's maybe just because I'm so biased being a Georgia fan. I don't know if Florida can make that happen, but. Michigan and Arizona are both really, really dangerous teams. Obviously, Duke is everyone's pick, but you're not gaining any points by picking Duke. Everybody's right. Duke, you know, so.
And in any event, Georgia SLU, obviously all of our eyes will be trained on that one tomorrow. Adam, I did have one more question with relation to this year's club. We've spent so much time talking about the new starting mix, right? But also at the end of last season, you turned the page on quite a few of the veterans in the lineup as well. Nolan, Wilson, no longer part of that mix. So can you talk about some of the challenges that go into when some of these newer offensive talents, the Alex of the world, are being primed for larger roles? What is difficult about maybe being able to foster that sense of collective leadership, what these guys are building toward in the Cardinal clubhouse?
Well, I think what in my talks with Ollie and just my general feel of the clubhouse so far, and I've only been in here for a day, but there's a relaxed. I won't say comfortable is not the right word, but confident air about some of the young players, Mason Wynn and Alec Burleson, and there's guys that are stepping up naturally. They're not trying to be leaders; they just are leading well. You see, there's a lot of laughter coming out of that clubhouse. Guys are having a fun time. I think some of these young guys that JJ is looking like he's just fitting in perfectly. I think the general sense is everything is on such a great track right now. It's a lot to lose a Nolan Arenado and Paul Goldschmidt in a couple of years. And then, for these guys to step up and just know that, hey, look, this is our team now. That's important. These guys have to feel like they belong. and they're acting very natural in there, and that's not an easy thing sometimes.
Bueno, you retired in 2023. You've had 2 full seasons, and now approaching your 3rd season as a retired player. I know you're doing broadcasting. You're obviously down there in Jupiter helping out with the coaching right now. How has the retirement life been treating you?
It's very good. I'm not very good at retiring. I keep taking jobs, but I'm having a blast. It's a good season of life. My kiddos are in baseball and softball, and I'm the least valuable volunteer assistant coach because I'm gone a little bit. But I love my time out there coaching them and what they're doing. And then my older daughters are into dance and soccer and volleyball, and so I'm forever, following them around doing stuff like that. But, getting to sneak out and see a big league game and call one every now and then and getting to be down here in spring training. I'll tell you, man, it's just walking in here today was a surreal feeling because it's a completely new complex. Mm-hmm. So in some ways I felt like I was in a totally different place. Yeah. But then as soon as I got inside, I felt like I'd been there for 20 years. I was watching the game today. I thought, man, I feel like I'm still playing on the team. It's crazy because I still know some of these guys around here, and I still love being a part of it so much. But it's really fun to see these young guys play.
Well, Adam, we appreciate you joining us. If anyone wants to be involved with Big League Impact, go to bigleagueimpact.org/March Madness. Fill out a bracket, donate your money, and you can be involved. You have tickets that are given out and meet and greets for some current MLB players. And you and Kyle do a great job with that, so we appreciate you joining us, and we look forward to talking to you soon.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you.
Thank you.
All right. You.
That was former Cardinals ace Adam Wainwright joining us here on the Fast Lane. And, man, you got to miss watching Waino pitch.
Oh, my goodness,
yeah,
yes.
Man.
Watching that curveball.
Yeah, Uncle Charlie.
Ooh.
Yeah. Good times.
That's somebody who got the pageantry of opening day, right?
Man.
Yeah, and every other assignment the rest of the way.
He mentioned it. It's you try to tell yourself it's just another game, but it's not.
No,
it's like pitching in. He mentioned it. There's only 29 other people in the world doing this, and you're one of them. And I think that's a really cool moment. It's a really special moment. So hopefully Matthew Liberatore goes out and shoves and has a great day, and we can start the baseball season off right. That's Andrew Marsh. Bradford Bruns. I'm Carey Davis. Coming up next, the first 4 was riveting yesterday. Bradford got some insight on how that went down. Some really close games for 2 of those first 4 teams. We'll discuss it next on the Fast Lane.
Stupiracy. It's the podcast where stupidity and conspiracy collide. And in our latest episode, Rizzuto and I take on a question so ridiculous it has somehow survived the internet's fact-checking era. Is Nicolas Cage a vampire? Stupiracy Season 2 is out now, including our latest episode examining the career choices, personal mythology, and strange coincidences that keep fueling the conspiracy. Is Nicolas Cage a vampire? Listen wherever you get your podcasts or watch on YouTube. Presented by CarStar, your auto body repair experts. Locally owned with a nationwide guarantee. Visit carstar.com.
Urban Chestnut. So many great beers to choose from over there. They're always great, just brewing fantastic beers. But my personal favorite is Zwickle Light. Introduced as Zwickle Light not too long ago. I really enjoyed it. I like to drink a light beer. Don't want to feel bloated, all those things. And usually a light beer tastes a little bit like water. Not Zwickle Light. Zwickle Light, you get all the benefits of the light beer. 95 calories, 3.7 carbs. You don't get bloated, but it actually tastes like beer. It's awesome. They've got cans and bottles. So if you're sitting by the pool, you grab the can, put it in a little koozie. You love that. But if you're not, sit up on the deck, whatever. Get a little bucket, put some ice, put the bottles of Zwickle Light in there. I'm telling you, once it hits your lips, it's so good. Every time I have one, I just remind myself of how fortunate we are to have Urban Chestnut Brewing Zwickle Light here in the St. Louis area. Remember, it's the unofficial beer of St. Louis hockey. Visit urbanchestnut.com for more information regarding anything they've got going on. And remember to keep it light and keep it local.
Text us anytime at 314-399-9646 on the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation text line on 101 ESPN. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Liberatore to lead the way on opening day. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Next Thursday at Busch Stadium, 3:15 will mark first pitch for the 2026 regular season opener, Cardinals and Rays. Matthew Liberatore, who was drafted by Tampa Bay back in 2018, will get the nod for that contest. The order of the rest of the starting five to be determined. Earlier this afternoon, about 30 minutes ago, in fact, in Florida, the Cardinals knocked off Houston by the final of 4-1, plating 3 runs in the 9th inning. They're back at it tomorrow, back at it tonight on the ice. The Blues taking on Calgary at the Saddle Dome. Puck drop at 8:30 p.m. Pregame 1 hour earlier with Alex Ferrario right here on 101 ESPN. The Sports Center update has been brought to you by Universal Windows Direct.
Don't slow down. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane, joined by Bradford Bruns and Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis, and yesterday the first 4 began. The NCAA tournament has kicked off, and it kicked off in a great way. You got 2 really close games, a 2-point win by Texas over North Carolina State. Howard Bison taking on UMBC Retrievers,
you know,
and winning by 3 points. Bradford, how exciting were those 2 games? And I ask you that, first of all, how exciting were those 2 games? And do you actually like the play-in games? We talked about it yesterday. Most people aren't fans of extra games or 4 extra teams getting an opportunity. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, as a traditionalist, honestly, when this idea first originated, I'll be perfectly honest, I hated it. I downright loathed it, right? I despised it. But then gradually, quite honestly, guys, given the style of basketball, the brand, and the great games we have seen in just the last couple of years alone, I have come to embrace it. Now, I'm still steadfast about my real NCAA tournament. With all due respect, it comes down to the field of 64, okay? Yeah. If you're giving me bonus postseason basketball, that's awesome. And last night exactly went along those lines because it was a cool story beyond just that. Howard, first ever NCAA tournament win, knocking off, of course, UMBC, came down to the final possession. A flurry there. Would the Retrievers get off the shot? Ultimately couldn't do it. Same thing for Texas as well as NC State. This was a rematch, guys, of an early season contest that we actually saw back in November. And I know a lot of people in this region, obviously, as a product of following the SEC, keeping tabs on all of the Yes Power Conference proceedings there and wondering, okay, Texas getting in as an 11 seed into the tournament in the first place, into the first 4 in Dayton. Would this team show up, especially on the defensive side of the ball, and prove its worth in the field of 68 originally? Because you could have made a case, given how Oklahoma finished the season in that league alone, how many quality wins Auburn ultimately had. Texas was on the skids, okay? So what I saw last night, now it's not fundamentally going to convince me that you can run into BYU and the leading scorer in the entire nation tomorrow night and knock off the 6. But maybe if you have made some adjustments there defensively, maybe if you have some contributions from guys other than Dalen Swain, because last night, the top player for the Longhorns, he wasn't even remotely good, and they figured out a way, which is something that always gives me a little bit of a pause, I'll admit, when it comes to Sean Miller-coached teams. Because that's not to say, guys, he hasn't had a lot of tournament appearances, a lot of success in the past, but go back to Xavier, go back to Arizona. When you get progressively deeper into a tournament, Sean Miller has had a wealth of talent and hasn't ultimately been able to really convert that into a lot of success. I think it's an intriguing matchup, 6 versus 11 tomorrow, and I think Texas is intriguing because of what I saw personally in Mizzou's own backyard a few weeks ago. This is a team that went on the road, the Longhorns we're talking about, and hammered Missouri by 17 in that game. It simply doesn't happen in Columbia, so I'm at least intrigued by what Texas could do against AJ and company tomorrow.
I think AJ DeBonta is going to do what he does. It's going to be a coming out party for him. For those that haven't seen him, BYU is a school. And if you haven't watched him play basketball yet, when you watch him play, you'll know why he's going to be potentially the top pick taken, or at least top 3 picks taken. So he's going to show up and show out for me. Did you notice in that Texas game, after the go-ahead shot, the coaching staff ran on the court this time?
There you go.
You have to I am so thrown off by this. I am disappointed that a coaching staff has not worked on this to the point, because what we talked about it in the was it SLU game and I forget which other game, in the Michigan game.
Yeah,
just throw the ball in. Mm-hmm. They got too many people on the court, and they got a dang on coach on the court as well. Like, if I'm a coaching staff, we're talking, hey, the basketball needs some get back coaches. Clearly, football, we got get back coaches. They don't have any get back coaches in basketball yet. They're gonna have to recruit somebody to get those coaches and those players off the court when their team hits a game-winning or go-ahead shot.
Are you saying they didn't know how to react? They didn't expect Mark to hit the fadeaway 3 basically to win that game?
Not
for real.
All.
What do you think about tonight? Also, by the way, guys, the marquee attraction or team involved in tonight's festivities, as the first 4 will come to a conclusion. Miami of Ohio started the season 30-0, had the ill-fated loss at the very end, and was basically put into the situation of having to go to Dayton to really then crack the field of 64. If Miami of Ohio doesn't have a representative performance tonight, we're talking about that game, obviously you've got Lehigh, Prairie View, A&M, and you've got Miami of Ohio and SMU. Do the Redhawks in a way need not just a victory, but a commanding win at that to kind of help counteract this narrative against mid-major teams? Unless you're perfect, even if you are unblemished through around 30 games, it doesn't matter if we see you go down once.
Yeah, so I was in the camp of, I feel bad that they were stuck in this first 4, because based on their season, I believe they should have been in the field of 64 rather than in this first 4 to play into, the larger tournament.
Yeah.
However, I think this is a moment for them to really prove to the nation, hey, we actually should have been in that round of 64. Why are we playing in this first 4 game? Mm-hmm. However, if they lose and it doesn't look particularly good, then I think everyone...
answer.
You have your answer, and you're like, hey, it didn't really matter what your record looked like in the MAC. There's a reason why you're in the MAC. And the MAC, unfortunately, hope Anthony's not listening, does not necessarily line up well against other major conferences.
Not box office.
You watch your mouth, Marshy.
I am rooting for them, though.
The Redhawks are 7.5 point dogs in that game. They are the Miami of Ohio are the Mustangs are the favorites. 7.5 points.
Didn't realize the Mustangs were such powerhouses this season.
I'm rooting for the Mustangs. I said the other day my nephew plays basketball for the Mustangs, and I'm looking for a former St. Louis kid, moved down to Texas, Brandon Davis Ray, my nephew. I'm looking forward to seeing him get an opportunity. So go Mustangs.
This is hoops,
Sorry,
though,
Redhawks.
not football, right? If you were talking about Kevin Jennings and company, I'd understand. We're talking about hoops.
We're talking about hoops. I don't know.
Jeez. Is there a team in this first 4? I'm not even going to mention the 16 seeds. Obviously, Texas moves on. Now we have SMU, Miami of Ohio. We haven't seen a team go far coming out of the first 4 since 2021 when UCLA went to the Final Four. They lost by 3 to Gonzaga, who then ended up losing to Baylor. Outside of that, the most, I believe, a team that has won a first 4 game, they've won 1 round.
Yeah.
And you have to go back to UCLA, who went the distance. Mm-hmm. Could you see any of these teams, 3 remaining, doing something similar? Or, is their ceiling maybe a round of 32?
I don't know. I mean, like I said, Miami of Ohio is the underdog in that game, but they are one of the better teams in terms of record. And some people will say, well, they haven't played anybody. I know people look at the Ken Palm ratings, and they are like 81st in the country compared to all of the teams. I think it's 120-something teams, so they're at the bottom third on that list. But if they do find some magic and they do have confidence, there is confidence when you win games. And they won a lot of games this year. Them playing against Tennessee in that round 1 matchup, yeah, maybe you have a surprise there. But I'm rooting for SMU, and hopefully SMU is the one that goes and beats Tennessee.
To me, it's Texas because, Carey, I can't quite be moved
You like
to
Texas.
buy into BYU to the same extent. Look, I respect the Cougars. I respect AJ, and I know that team can get up and down the floor. But if you're asking me right now, can Texas compete in the second half in that 6-11 matchup? Both of these teams are incredibly proficient at scoring the basketball. They're also less than willing, shall we say, to spread the wealth. If you're telling me down the stretch maybe it's a 1v1 sort of thing with Swain going up against AJ, if Swain were to get hot, I think that honestly you saw so many incredible standouts this season in the SEC alone. He didn't always get the lion's share of the ink even there at that institution, and I think he should have gotten more pub because this is somebody who consistently put his team on his back to be able to get to 19 victories overall. And because Texas to me is very comparable as far as the style goes to BYU, even though DeBonce is absolutely fantastic on both ends of the floor, it's not as if BYU just cleans the glass, too, with the utmost regularity. I think it's tight. I think Texas in the last 5 minutes has a chance to pull it out. Beyond that, no.
Yeah, we'll see. And I gave Miami, Ohio too much credit. They're 93rd in the Ken Palm ratings. I gave them 81st.
Ugh.
That's not great. So we'll see how these final first four matchups end up tonight, and we'll be paying attention. We'll be watching. We spoke about it a little bit earlier, but we're going to continue the conversation about Venezuela winning in upset fashion over the USA last night in the WBC. We'll talk about that next when we return on the Fast Lane.
The Blues play on 101 ESPN.
Big save on one end. Tie game on the other.
Tonight, Blues and Flames. Pregame at 7:30. Puck drop at 8:30.
Score! He tucks it in with a great move.
This is your exclusive home for Blues hockey. 101 ESPN. ESPN has your shot to score a signed Blues puck autographed by Ford Dalibor Dvorsky. Enter to win right now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 app, powered by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns. And last night, Venezuela won in thrilling fashion over the United States in the World Baseball Classic. Marshy, Bradford, what were your takeaways from that game last night?
My main takeaway was that the United States offense was non-existent for a majority of that game. Bryce Harper with a mammoth home run. I thought that was awesome. And at that point, I was thinking, okay, maybe they actually pull this out. It sort of reminded me of the gold medal game with the United States, how it seemed like Canada was the better team throughout that entire game outside of, the final stages of it. So I was thinking, okay, maybe there's something similar here where the United States comes back. They end up tying the game in the eighth inning thanks to Bryce Harper. And then they take that momentum and end up winning the game. And unfortunately, Venezuela, they just responded right away in the top of the ninth. And it was a gut punch within that top of the ninth because I felt as if once they scored that go-ahead run, I didn't think the United States really had enough to – the way that they were playing. Of course, they have the guys in the lineup that you would think would do enough to ultimately win that game.
Yeah.
But I felt that when Venezuela ended up going up by one run in the ninth, it was pretty much over at that point.
And last night was just a microcosm of what we saw from this much ballyhooed lineup throughout the entire tournament. Mm-hmm. One of the greatest offenses, one of the greatest lineups, ever assembled, and yet you saw an absolute dud. This is even prior to the semifinal matchup against the DR, okay? You had a lot of eggs, but to have gotten through that game and scored minimal runs at that by virtue of the home run ball only, I had some reservations entering last night. Now, did I predict that Eduardo Rodriguez would go 5+ innings, would permit one hit? No, I didn't, but...
Yeah, we talked about that, too, yesterday before we signed off, just based on the prior starts for both pitchers, that maybe it would be a high-scoring game. I even took the over and bet the board over 8.5 runs, and that did not come to fruition. So I did not expect that, and I also thought that McLean was fine, too. Like, I understand they end up scoring 2 runs and whatnot. He goes 4 2/3. He ends up giving up 2 runs, but a much better outing than when he faced off against Italy.
He wasn't your problem. The bullpen ultimately wasn't your problem. Would you have liked to have seen, frankly, a Mason Miller being available last night? Sure, but this comes with the territory when there are other implications. You lost quite simply because your lineup was absent for the majority of this tournament, period.
That's what I was going to say. Your 3-7 hitters went 0 for 17 last night with 8 strikeouts. Woo. Like, if you don't get anything, you got no contributions from the meat of your lineup. And so there's really no opportunity for you to win a game, let alone be even in the game. So for me, that's where you start off. And I was listening earlier how I think Aaron Judge started off really hot in the World Baseball Classic and kind of cooled off the last 4 or 5 games. Like, you cannot be that spot in the lineup and not hit and not produce. And again, you got 3-4, Kyle Schwarber, Bregman, Roman Anthony, Will Smith. They all combined, and Gunnar Henderson had 1 at bat. They all combined went 0 for 17.
And Harper was only 5 of 27 before the bomb.
Yes, you're not going to have much success if the meat of your lineup isn't having success. So I think that's where you start. Kudos to Venezuela and what they were able to do. Their pitching, they did a fantastic job. They came out and shoved, and it was a really good game. It was an exciting game. I didn't think the USA was going to score at all. And when Bryce Harper hit that, smoked it to center field. It was like, okay, we're in this thing now, are we?
See, I thought that was
just like
the turning point.
I did.
I genuinely thought that was the turning point when the offense would, and obviously you get Aaron Judge to come up next, and you're hoping maybe they go back to back here, and he ends up striking out. But to the point of the offense sort of being non-existent, I believe they went like a game and a half without getting a leadoff runner on base.
There was one guy last night who advanced past first base. That was Bryce Harper.
Yeah.
At all.
That's not good.
No.
It's not a recipe for success, Bradford.
Absolutely not.
I checked.
I will say, though, at the end of the evening, what a ridiculously entertaining tournament it was from start to finish, and how much more, for me, I know what it did for me, but how much more did it whet your guys' appetite for potential major league participation? I'm not talking about in 2030, the next round, the next iteration of the WBC, but rather Summer Olympics in Los Angeles. How much more enticed would you be by the idea of all of the MLBers reassembling then?
I would be excited if they're going to participate.
If they're going to do it, yeah.
Like that's and I was listening to Stephen A. Smith coming in, and I understand the frustration for some people with the certain players not participating. One, we talked about it before the World Baseball Classic. There were some insurance issues where some players weren't even allowed to be insured, so they weren't going to be able to play, and those were for different countries, and I think some for the U.S. But the risk versus reward. Like if you're Tarek Skubal, what's the reward? I understand what the reward is, but what's the risk? Which one is greater? You got hundreds of millions of dollars potentially on the line if you get injured and you're not able to perform this season. I can't knock anyone for that, even though I know that you could potentially win a gold medal.
Well, he could also, get it, at least with the WBC in this particular instance, he could go out in spring training and get injured.
He could.
So, and I understand from like the Summer Olympic standpoint, if they're not willing to, if some players aren't willing to play now heading into the season, if they're in a playoff type run, if they're in that mix come Summer Olympic time, there's no way. There's no way.
And last night, what did we see one more time? It was simply reinforced for the masses. This still means more collectively and individually to the gamut of these other nations. It just does. Venezuela was all in from the beginning. And you can say what you want about the total level of commitment, how many of the U.S., the best guys for America, actually committed and participated in the first place. But this is the event for Venezuela, for the DR, for essentially all of the Latin American countries, that is, and more. So when you're seeing the best of the best, and you have guys, for instance, like a Miguel Rojas, who couldn't play for Venezuela, essentially crying because he couldn't get that insurance. When you've got a Salvador Perez in his final WBC, when the tears are streaming and everybody collectively is reciting that anthem, you saw genuinely how much more it meant at the end of the day. So I can't say, honestly, at the end of the evening, I was that sad because I saw, the best of baseball and baseball in its purest form.
I agree 100%. That's Bradford Bruns and Andrew Marsh from Carey Davis. Coming up, we got our friend Jamie Rivers joining us from Calgary. We'll ask him how that Canadian life is treating him while he's on the road preparing for the Calgary Flames versus the Blues tonight. That's next on 101 ESPN.
The first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament tips off this Thursday, and you can watch all the madness with 101 ESPN. Join BK and Ferrario and the Fast Lane this Thursday as they broadcast from Helen Fitzgerald's. Then Friday, you can join both shows live from Ray's Sports House in Soulard. Come watch the games with BK and Ferrario and the Fast Lane. Sign up for 101 ESPN giveaways and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Learn more now at 101ESPN.com. WXOS, WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns. And we go to the Collier and Thompson phone line and talk to our good friend, Jamie Rivers. Jamie, how's Canada treating you?
Canada's beautiful the last couple of days. The sun's out here in Calgary, walking around the streets. No more snow. Pretty nice.
Is it warm there? Because it's kind of been fluctuating. It was like 19 degrees yesterday, and I think it's going to be like 70 today and 80 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's probably like 50, 55 degrees here. Like, it's not bad at all. No, not for Calgary.
Not bad at all. Jamie, we were having a discussion, and we're going to talk about this before you join, but we'll ask you. The question that Marshy posed to us earlier is, do the Blues need to find their identity before the end of the season?
Yeah, you always want a team to find their identity, but I don't know if you're going to find it per se. You have so many guys right now that are on this team. You've got 5 lines of forwards, 8 defensemen. Every game you've got a different combination of players that are in or out of the lineup. And so I think if you're trying to find an identity, I think it's just overall compete. I think that's what, in talking to Monty and in talking to Alex Steen, they just want a group that competes hard. Every single shift, work hard for puck battles, net front presence. I think that's ultimately what the Blues want their identity to be, is that they're a pain in the ass to play against. Now, can they get there? Of course they can. One would argue that in the last handful of games since the Olympic break, that they've been a team that's been competing. I mean, the record speaks for itself, and even last game against Winnipeg, they dominated that game. They didn't win it, which was unfortunate, but they outplayed the Winnipeg Jets. So I think you're starting to see that identity a little bit within their compete in the game.
Yeah, Jamie, so Alex asked that question to Curbs earlier today on BK and Ferrario, and Curbs basically said, the same thing. Like, the focus right now is on those young players. Is there a certain player or group of players, and you talked about compete right there, that you need to see a little bit more from in this final stretch of games, or are you comfortable with where their game is at right now?
I actually feel like the young guys are doing a pretty darn good job. Mm-hmm. There's a couple of these guys that I didn't think would be on this roster this year in the NHL. And, Stenberg was one. I didn't know if we'd see him at all, but he's been up here twice now. He's here for the duration. And Dvorsky. And we knew we'd see him at one point. We didn't know where it would be in the season. He got called up early, and he's been with the team ever since. And he's competing well. You see his game. Last game, there was a little uptick. He got healthy scratched the game before, and you can see that he didn't like that. And he competed a lot more, created more offense the other night in Winnipeg, and I thought he looked pretty good. So as far as the young guys are concerned, it's going to be learning to compete, but also growing your confidence at the same time, because there's a lot of things that are going on right now. And they're going to play some teams where their playoff lives are on the line. And then they're going to have other games like tonight here in Calgary, where Calgary really has nothing to play for. But I hear from everybody around the league that this Calgary team just has no quit in them. Even if they're down by 5 goals, they don't stop. They keep pushing. So that's going to be an interesting test for those young guys tonight.
Jamie, speaking of Stenberg, he re-enters the lineup this evening alongside Dvorsky and company. How much runway or leash, per se, would you like to see those two working in tandem with each other get the rest of the way?
Well, it depends on what it looks like for me. If they look good playing together, if the chemistry seems like it's a good fit, then I try not to mess with too many things. But like I said before, there's 5 lines of players. There's a lot of mouths to feed here down the stretch, and I don't know how Monty's going to play it. Like, you look at a guy like Berggren, he's got a 2-game point streak going. Played pretty well in Winnipeg, and he's a healthy scratch today because of the numbers, because of the situation of playing younger players. And every time you have new guys in the lineup and other guys out of the lineup, I think the lines are going to change slightly. So we'll see if they can develop the kind of chemistry where Monty wants to leave Stenberg and Dvorsky together for an extended period of time. Or sometimes, Bradford, halfway through the first period, you'll see a complete shuffle of everything because nothing's working right and the coach isn't happy with what he's seeing.
Mm-hmm. Jamie, I feel like every single day we're having that discussion of should the Blues, try and make the playoffs? What would be the best thing for them moving forward for the rest of the season? What's most beneficial for their future? Is it getting a spot in the playoffs, like making another miraculous run, or is it getting a top pick? What is the best best thing for the Blues? And right now, there's 7 points out of a playoff spot. They're 5 points from being the second worst team in the West. I look at their schedule coming up, though, and I don't see too many games, at least for the rest of this month, that they can't win. I'm looking at Calgary, Vancouver, Washington. You've beaten the Sharks. You have them twice. The Maple Leafs. I feel like the Blues could win all of these games.
Yeah, it's kind of goofy, isn't it? I mean, this is a tough spot for the team to be in. And, I've been fortunate enough to have a couple of conversations with some of the front office guys, and they truly just want to see a team that develops a hatred for losing hockey games. Mm-hmm. That's what they do. They don't want a team that's satisfied to be here. Oh, well, it's good. Oh, hey, we're in the NHL. We're making NHL money. Oh, should have won that one. Too bad. No, they want a team that's like severely pissed off every time they lose. And I know why they want that, because that's the foundation of a winning hockey team moving forward. When your younger guys get better, when they develop more, if they have that internal hatred for losing, then usually that translates into a winning environment. That's about the only thing I know for sure that they want. The team really hasn't said, hey, we want to lose, which I never really heard a team say that anyways, but and they haven't said, hey, we're a playoff team. It's almost like every day they get to the rink, they're trying to bring their best and see where the chips fall, because nobody really has any control over it. At this point, you can't make any trades. You really don't have any guys. And you could send some guys down and try to call some guys up or whatever you want to do if you were trying to tank it, I guess. Mm-hmm. But then what does that say about your organization? What message is that then to the young guys who you're trying right now to make them believe that they have to compete every single shift and play to win, and yet the team feels like it's given up? That's not the message you want to send either. So I think the front office is like, you know what? We're going to play the lineup we have. The young guys are going to play more, get them some experience. If we lose every game, then I guess we'll start worrying about a top pick. If we win a whole bunch of games and come close, well, at least we have a team that knows how to win now.
Jamie, I think the first line is doing an outstanding job, but you probably need a little bit more from the second and third line and those guys. What are you seeing from other than the first line, who I said I think they're playing outstanding? What are you seeing from the other lines, and how much more support could they aid in this team winning more games down the stretch?
Well, it's a huge thing. I mean, Dalibor Dvorsky got on the board last game, and you need more from him. You need more offense from him. Berggren's been contributing. Actually, it was a little bit of a head-scratcher to me, I'm not going to lie, that Berggren didn't stay on the line with Dvorsky, because I thought that they had some pretty good chemistry last game, and they obviously scored a goal. So to your point, Carey, a little depth of scoring at that in that line there. But, yeah, the scoring can't just come from Holloway, Snuggerud, and Thomas. Jordan Kyrou's got to pick it up here. I thought he was flying around pretty good in Winnipeg. He had his feet going. He had several opportunities, came close a couple times, but he's got to find the back of the net. He's got to produce. He's got to be an offensive threat every game. And when he's not, when Dvorsky's not, when some of the other guys, then you're limited to the one line of scoring, and that's not easy to win hockey games that way. And let's be honest, too, your power play's got to pick it up. Power play's been atrocious, and that's usually a spot where you can create a little extra offense, and we're not getting any out of that. In fact, we're losing momentum in the games because of the power play.
Well, Jamie, we got you for one more segment. We'll pick your brain about what the Blues need to do to win tonight. Then we'll play Jamie's Light the Lamp game. That's next on 101 ESPN.
The Spread Zone, where sports betting meets reckless optimism, questionable logic, and the occasional stroke of genius. With hosts Anthony Stalter, Tim McKernan, and Scott Rizzuto. Check out the latest from the Spread Zone at 101ESPN.com or the 101 mobile app. The Spread Zone is brought to you by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more.
Hey, it's BK. Save yourself time and money by going to carltoninsurance.net.
Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in, To claim your bonus, use them on the bracket picks, money lines, spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. You want to do it now because it started up. We had some great finishes last night. You saw Texas win in convincing fashion on a game-winning shot. Same thing with Howard over UMBC. The tournament is rolling. You do not want to wait. These bonus bets are only available for a limited time. Get in, pick your horse, and ride with it to the end. Just visit FanDuel.com/local to learn more. That's FanDuel.com/local. You must be 21 plus and present in Missouri. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. My best advice to you when hiring a lawyer for your injury case is simple. If you know court personnel, ask them who they'd hire. They know. If you know an insurance adjuster, ask them. They know. And then ask them about us. Ask them about Morgan & Morgan. They know. I look forward to talking to you soon. There's only one Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm for the people. Injured? Dial pound law.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements. Past results afford no guarantee of future results. Every case is different and must be judged on its own merits.
Do you bleed blue? My friends at Woods Basement Systems do. You know what's worse than having a cracked stick? How about a crack in your foundation? Jamie Rivers here, and Woods will fix that foundation problem right away. A solid foundation is important for a team and for your home. Let the experts at Woods Basement Systems protect your home's value. With Woods, your foundation is fixed forever. So get a free estimate because they are the highest rated, most reviewed contractor of all things basement-y. Go to woodsbasementsystems.com, woodsbasementsystems.com.
Vehicles priced under $20,000. Payments below $300 a month. Every new vehicle with 0% for 60 months. At the Frank Leah Automotive Outlet in Bridgeton. It's not a dream. New and pre-owned vehicles, all with just $1 down. Only the best Chevys, Fords, Chryslers, Dodge, Jeeps, Hondas, Toyotas, Kias, Hyundais, Mitsubishis, even BMWs. And
ESPN is your home for Blues hockey. Every month during the season, you can score a pair of tickets to a Blues game at Enterprise Center. A new winner is picked every month throughout the season. Enter to win now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 mobile app presented by Ted Cruz Frozen Custard. Two former pros and one average Joe. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns, and we have Jamie's keys. What do you got, 87 keys to the game, Jamie?
Jesus. If I have that many, things are going pretty bad.
Well, give us what you got. How many keys do you have? What do the Blues need to do to win tonight? You talked about the Calgary Flames and how tough they are despite their record. They're going to play hard. What do the Blues need to do to win tonight?
Yeah, a good start. You know, I think that's important. I think the Blues, whenever they get off to a good start, whether they score first or not, it's a big difference in their game. I think the forecheck has to get going tonight. The Flames don't have a great defensive core back there. They've got a couple of big guys who don't move all that well. Get the pucks in behind those guys. Make them work. Go back to get pucks all night. Then once you get the puck, establish a lot of offensive zone time here tonight. I want to see way more time in the O zone, and I want to see way more bodies at the net. We talked about it at nauseum the other night in the Winnipeg game, how it just felt like nobody was ever really at the front of the net. And the Jets did a good job of boxing out and keeping the play to the outside, but you can't let that happen. You got to get inside body position. You got to get to the net. You got to make life miserable for both the goaltender as well as the defenseman. And the last thing I'll say is more pucks to the net. Quit passing up shots. Get more pucks to the net. Force these guys to make saves. And then we've seen so many times But those rebounds can end up anywhere. They can end up in the net. They can end up, off a guy's shin pad, off a guy's face. But if you don't shoot the puck, Carey, you can't score the goal.
I heard that before. So,
yeah, there you go.
Jamie, you're in Calgary right now, one of the cities that will host the 2028 World Cup of Hockey. Obviously, the Olympics provided some entertainment for us hockey fans. What are your thoughts on, and I know it's in a few years, but the thought on the 2028 World Cup and the countries that will play or may not play?
Yeah, well, I'm thrilled for the World Cup of Hockey. It's great to have that back. The debate has already started whether Russia will play it or not and all that stuff. I'm going to stay out of it politically. I'll just say that if you want best-on-best hockey, the Russian team has to be there. The Russian team has got to be in that tournament. We'll see what they do as far as the decision when the time comes. I tell you what, guys, I was a little surprised, and I'm kind of miffed, really, that they have Calgary, Edmonton, and Prague. How in the hell do you not have a game, or at least a number of games, United States of America, the country that's dominating the hockey world right now? I feel like it was a massive missed opportunity. I know they wanted to have Calgary, Edmonton. They're very close to each other. Calgary's going to have a new building. It's supposed to be amazing. But I didn't get the whole why two Canadian cities and one in Prague. I thought you've got enough major cities in the United States that would love to host a couple of games. And I think it's weird. USA won all the medals, men's, women's, Paralympics, World Juniors, like all that stuff. And we're not putting the best on best anywhere in the United States. I felt like it was a missed opportunity.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, especially with the United States winning the gold medal. You would think that there's a ton of momentum building for hockey here in the States. If I'm not mistaken, St. Louis was one of the teams, or not one of the teams, but one of the cities that was in contention for hosting, being one of the host cities, Jamie.
Yeah, they were. They tried real hard to get a couple of games from that tournament in St. Louis. Unfortunately, the project fell short. But yeah, why wouldn't you have done that in St. Louis or pick Dallas or I don't know, pick a U.S. city to celebrate just where hockey is right now on a global basis, based on the U.S. being so good. I don't know. It's weird.
Well, we go from Jamie's keys to the game to Jamie's favorite game, light the lamp.
But a couple of guys can really shoot the puck.
Shooter! I must confess you scored first.
Well, who was the first person?
Breakaway! Shoots! Score! We got hockey to learn.
Bradford, this is the point where we would normally ask for the standings, but Jamie's so far ahead, we're all playing for second. So, Jamie, who you got to score tonight? Who do you know is going to score tonight? Because clearly you know every time they score, and we don't.
Well, Carey, thank you very much for the compliment. I could tell that it was paining you. Yeah, give me that teach me how to Snuggie. I think Snuggie's going to get one tonight.
All right. I think I'm still second. Give me Dylan Holloway.
It's not a bad choice. I'm going to go with, and as you said the other day, Jamie, Otto? Otto is how.
Otto
Stenberg.
Who is we didn't get a pick from Anthony. Who did he
let Bradford pick for him.
Oh, yeah, I thought Berggren was who he texted in.
Oh, he was deliberating, but actually at the end of the day, I believe the official submission is one Jack Finley.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, let's see how that goes for Anthony tonight. The Blues pregame starts at 7:30. Right. Blues pregame starts here at 7:30. You can check that out. Puck drop at 8:30. We will catch you on the call, Jamie. We will look forward to seeing you back in town whenever you get back, brother.
All right, man. I appreciate it, man. We'll talk to you guys soon.
All right, Jamie. Have a great one.
See you, boys.
That was Jamie Rivers joining us from the road in Calgary. They take on the Blues tonight, and the Blues take on them tonight. Hopefully they can pick up another win. Coming up next, we have our great friend, Brad Thompson, former Cardinals pitcher. We talked to Adam Wainwright about opening day. We can get BT's thoughts about Cardinals opening day and what he feels about Matthew Liberatore getting the start.
We're having a lot of pitchers join the show in the last few days.
We
got a lot of pitching insight into the fast lane.
Got to find some hitters, man.
Well, we'll probably get some bowling tips as well. BT loves bringing up bowling.
Oh, we can ask him about Vegas because he's from Vegas. We can also ask him about the NBA expansion. I mean, they're getting every dang on team out there in Vegas now. I'm sure he's thrilled about that. That is pretty awesome for him.
We'll ask him about his bracket. Maybe he's filled out a bracket. It's been a while since we've talked to BT.
We talked to BT in a while. We'll ask him a lot of questions. We got a lot of questions for you, BT. If you're listening, be prepared, brother, because we're coming at you next on the Fast Lane.
The Puck Cancer third period charity hockey game is next Friday night at the Centene Community Ice Center. You can catch the Fast Lane broadcasting live before the game from 2 to 6 p.m. from inside the ENP Granite Studio. Tickets are on sale now for the third annual Puck Cancer Alumni Game organized by Kelly Chase. See the St. Louis Blues alumni face off in a charity game in support of Sightman Cancer Center and the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Grab your tickets for the game now to support those two great organizations and then tune in next Friday afternoon for the Fast Lane's live broadcast from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light, Skimmer's Original Vodka Iced Tea, and by ENP Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Fellas, it's Carey Davis, and I know you hear Anthony and I talk about it pretty much every day. You remember when you felt like you were 25, the morning workouts were a breeze. You didn't have to have that first cup of coffee for things to get kicked in. You were ready to roll. Now, if you fast forward today, maybe you feel like you lost some of that edge. Maybe you feel a little bit older. It could be low testosterone, and that's where Mentality comes in to help you. They are going to run real labs, give you real answers, and figure out a plan that'll put you on a path to feeling like you were 25 again. Did you know that 94% of men report new, renewed energy and focus within 60 days of starting the peptide therapy or the testosterone replacement therapy? You can get yourself feeling back to the old version of yourself. Mentality is about real medicine. Now, they can't make you 25 again, but they can get you feeling like the guy you used to be. Schedule your appointment today at Mentality with Mentality at lowtusa.com. That's lowtusa.com.
College basketball is on ESPN. Tomorrow night, the first round coverage begins at 6. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. 101 ESPN Sports Center.
Redbirds down Strohs in Florida. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns with a SportsCenter update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. Near the top of the 2 o'clock hour, St. Louis polished off a 4-1 exhibition victory over Houston in Grapefruit League action. Ty Pete belted a go-ahead home run in the 9th inning, and on the mound, Kyle Leahy with 5 innings of scoreless ball, striking out 6. Also today, the Cardinals confirming that lefty Matthew Liberatore will get next week's opening day start against Tampa Bay. That contest happening on Thursday, 3:15 at Busch Stadium against Tampa Bay. Brad Thompson with more Redbirds-related talk right after this. This SportsCenter update has been brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Dayton heating and air conditioning dealer.
Buckle up. This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. We're talking everything Redbirds with Cardinals TV analyst Brad Thompson on 101 ESPN. BT is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the ultimate home run for wings and wins.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane with Bradford Bruns and Andrew Marsh. I am Carey Davis, and we go to the Collier and Thompson phone line and have our great friend Brad Thompson. BT, how's it going, man? How you doing?
BT, I am doing great, my man. It's good to hear from you. I'm excited, man. It's baseball season again. I get to join you guys. Life is good.
Life is good, and you are down there watching Cardinal baseball. Are you still in Florida, or are you back in town?
No, I'm back in town. They don't want to pay for me to not do anything right now. No way. They're not going to let me work on my cinnamon tan in Jupiter right now. No, I made my couple of trips down to Florida, and then, man, I'm getting ready for next Thursday, opening day. I can't believe it's already here, you know, a little over a week away. It's crazy.
Yeah, we got the news today that Matthew Liberatore will be the opening day starter. What were your thoughts on that, and how exciting is that for him being the opening day starter and also going against his former team?
Yeah, look, it's cool. And you remember he had the game of his life in Tampa Bay against his former team a couple of years ago. So maybe we can get a repeat performance of that. Look, I'm excited for Matthew. First of all, I like the young man. He just I think he's a natural leader. I think he's going to take over this staff very well. I think he's already one of those guys that other pitchers tend to gravitate towards. He's got a really good idea of what he's doing, but he's only 26 years old and really just got the leash taken off last year, where they said, "Hey, look, you're going to be a starter. We're going to give you the ball." He made 29 starts. I feel like we just saw like the beginning of what Matthew Liberatore is going to be. So I think this is the right decision for him, a guy that's been in the organization for a couple of years. You could have gone with Dustin May, who's thrown the ball really well, but I think that you give it to your guy and let him roll with it. I hope that he's able to build CD off of a year that he had last year because, innings high, starts high, obviously. It was a really good start to the season, too. The first 13 games, he was on fire, had a little bit of a downturn in the middle, but finished strong. I feel like there were a lot of good things to build off, so I'm just pumped up for him.
BT, when it comes to this rotation, what do you think the ceiling is for these group of pitchers? What can they ultimately do in 2026?
Look, I think that it's a very unproven group, right? So really, it's hard to say. And like when it comes to what are we basing a ceiling on? Is it wins and losses? And nobody cares about that anymore when it comes to pitchers, except for teams who like to win, or ERA. I think that this is a group here. I think they have a nice blend, right? So bringing in Dustin May helps a lot with some swing and miss in this rotation. I think that Matthew Liberatore has got a lot of that, and hopefully Leahy is going to bring an element of that too. Palante and McGreevy are going to be more to contact, outs on the ground. Certainly can get their swing and miss when they get in those advantageous counts. But I really do think that right now you have a group that you're starting five now, right, of Libby, May, McGreevy, Palante, and Leahy. You've got a group that is still growing and still has a ton to prove, but then you've also got some guys that are going to be around to push them. All of a sudden you have depth in an organization. Obviously, Richard Fitz getting sent to AAA today kind of solidified what that what that rotation was going to look like. But you got Fitz, you got Dobbins, who also came from Boston, who is going to be coming back from his ACL injury, so he'll be pushing along the way. And you got a bunch of stud prospects in the organization who will be knocking on the door as well. So I like the group that you're starting with, and I'm really interested to see if it's the same group come the end of the season.
BT, from the mound to the batter's box, where Jordan Walker, of course, is still looking for some results. He's been in the Cardinals lineup in each of the past 2 games after going through another stretch at the hitting lab down in Florida. Now, the numbers are the numbers in spring. The process, obviously, is the process. But when you learned of this latest trip for Jordan Walker, another critical spring, critical opening stretch to the regular season to come, what was your reaction to more behind-the-scenes tinkering?
Well, look, like everybody else, and especially like Jordan Walker, I was hoping for more, right? Just like he was hoping for more. He was hoping that all of that work that he put in this offseason, all the tinkering and all the changes that he's made, which have been necessary, were going to just come to fruition. He'd show up to spring training and bingo, bango, bongo. He's hitting doubles left and right. That hasn't really been the case. I have no problem with the work days, on the backfields and the hitting labs of trying to get things right, because what happens when you're trying to tinker sometimes in a game, you revert back to muscle memory. But this is starting to become a time for Jordan Walker, even though he's only 23 years old, still immensely talented, has a great physical skill set. You want to start seeing those results, and obviously he's working to get those results. I don't think that, guys, we're going to see a big overall swing change, like just an overhaul of his swing. Little things, and he's talked about different things that he's working on, of not drifting towards the baseball and just staying back. One of the biggest things that's going to help him early on is just pitch selection, and I think that we've seen him early in spring training. Well, it's late in spring training now, where he's getting antsy up there, and then he's starting to swing at stuff that he shouldn't, and then he's in a hole. You guys remember watching him last year. I mean, it really felt like, and I have to look at the numbers, but it felt like he was in an 0-2 count every time. It felt like he stepped to the box, they announced his name, and it was 0-2. Like, that's just kind of what it felt like. Yeah. And I'm sure for him, that's exactly what it felt like. It just felt like you were always in a hole. So I really hope that he's able to figure out a way to get that swing selection where he needs it. We know how pitchers are going to attack him. It's going to be away with the spinning stuff, and then all of a sudden when he's looking out there, they're going to jam his butt inside. Like that's happening. That's what pitching is. But can he make some good selections earlier? And we're going to find out, man. He is, I know that Ollie talked about it. He said, look, he didn't use the term runway, but he said he's going to play. He's going to get his at-bats. We're going to find out what it looks like for Jordan Walker, and not just for Jordan, who, I root for. I want him to have success. But for this team, if this team's going to score runs, guys, they're going to have to slug a little bit. And Jordan Walker is a guy that when he was drafted in the first round, that was the hope and that was the expectation that this guy was going to slug. Not hit 115-mile-an-hour ground balls through the 5-6 hole. That's great. He hits the ball hard, or he's got big swing speed. You need to see those things turn into balls getting elevated, driving in the gaps, and ultimately getting out of the ballpark. That's what he's working on, and that's what they need.
We're joined by former Cardinals pitcher and color commentary for the St. Louis Cardinals, Brad Thompson. BT, we've had you on today. We had Adam Wainwright on earlier today. We had Kyle Gibson on yesterday. And I think the sentiment from all three of you all is that you are very confident about the starting rotation and the pitching staff as a whole. Jamie. But when we talk about the lineup, what are there any concerns for you, or do you have the same high expectations for the lineup as well as you do for the pitching staff?
Well, first of all, with the three guests that you talked about, I get the bronze medal around Olympic season.
We saved the best for last.
That's
there
pretty
you
good.
go. Yeah.
That is pretty good. Yeah, still on the podium. That is good. No, when it comes to the lineup, I don't necessarily have the same expectations because it's such an unproven group, and I guess the rotation is too. But you look at the offense last year for the Cardinals, not a juggernaut, and then you lose Contreras, who was one of your most complete hitters outside of Alec Burleson. Nolan Arenado had a down year, but, I mean, you lose the numbers on the back of his baseball card. Look, there is a lot to prove. That's one of the biggest questions for me this year for the 2026 St. Louis Cardinals is, how are they going to score runs? Like, how are they going to be able to put up enough? Because I don't think they're going to be a team that is just going to drive the ball out of the ballpark. I do think that they have some guys that can do it, that can unlock some things. Walker is one that we talked about. Certainly Nolan Gorman is another one of those. I believe that Burleson will see a jump in his power numbers, and of Ivan Herrera, all he has done is hit. But can a young group put it together consistently? Like, what is that going to end up looking like? To me, it's one of the biggest questions. And, a guy like, J.J. Weatherholt, you hope ends up being in on that mix, but you're not going to put a ton on a young kid that whenever he plays in his first game is going to be making his major league debut. You don't want to lay the offense at his feet. I feel like for Ollie and for Brant Brown, the entire hitting staff, that's the biggest question is how do you manufacture runs with this group? And I think the details are really going to matter this year with a young ball club. The little stuff, and not just small ball necessarily, but having selfless at-bats of getting a runner over in scoring position, getting him in, truly caring about those little things is going to end up making a big difference. Is that big difference them playing in October, or is that big difference of them being a 500 ball club? Who knows? But I do know that those little things are really going to matter throughout the season if you want to play winning baseball for the next couple of years.
Yeah, it seems like there's a ton of questions heading into this season. And, BT, there's some fans that are skeptical. Others are intrigued by this roster. Me, myself, I'm very intrigued on what we could see this 2026 ball club ultimately being. But for you, what is the biggest strength on paper for this club heading into the regular season? And is it enough to keep this team relevant throughout the year?
It's hard to say, man. I still think that the biggest strength for them is likely going to be on the pitching side. Mm-hmm. I feel like the bullpen is still going to be a strength, even without, Helsley obviously got traded off last year. I still believe in the pieces that you have at the back end. I thought that Ryan Stanek was a really good pickup. But the question, we're going to find out, right? Offensively, will they put up enough runs to be able to utilize that bullpen to hold some of those leads? So the advantage that this team has, in my eyes, and it's very hard to quantify. I don't think I'm going to find it on Fangraphs or wherever you want to go get your numbers. I think that or wherever you get your stats. That's my nerd voice. Yep. But I really do think the biggest advantage this team has is that they're young and they have to fight for everything, and that they actually finally have some depth that's at AAA that is going to be ready to take a job if somebody's not there and doing the job at the big league level. Now, that's not going to be after 2 weeks of at-bats for somebody, or 3 weeks. Maybe it's a month. Maybe it's 2 months. But there are people coming. Competition is one of the biggest things you can have. Depth is one of the biggest things that you can have. I know that you always talk about hey, you can't play this game looking over your shoulder, and that's true. You have to be focused on your task at hand, but it's important to know that somebody is coming for your job. Last year, there were guys struggling, and no one was coming for their job. And it was just okay, well, we're going to run this guy out there and let him keep doing it. I don't think that you're going to see that quite as long this season. I think that's one of the biggest advantages this club has, is that they're going to have to fight for every bit of it. And if you're a fan of watching the game, and if you watch Cardinal baseball, you're a fan, obviously, you want to see guys play hard. When you have a young ball club, that's all you're going to get all the time. You're not going to have anybody dogging anything, because if they do, they're probably not going to be here. To me, that excites me.
Last one from me, BT. Going back to possible sources of more offensive pop here for a moment. Obviously, earlier in spring, Joshua Baez was a huge name, huge expectations for him as we move along. But I think we would have been hard-pressed to go back to January and think, as of now, okay, what would you have gotten out of a Nelson Velasquez? And yet this guy does nothing but continue to rake down in the Grapefruit League. Hitless today, but hitting a hard 306, and has that opportunity to lift it over the fence. In your estimation, the case for Velasquez, maybe even being that opening day option in left field for this team, how viable is that as we sit here today?
Yeah, it's super viable. And look, had you had me on the show in January, I would have told you all about Nelson Velasquez and the fact that this is probably going to come to fruition. I wouldn't have, but that is what it's all about, right? It's about, hey, there is a chance here, and left field obviously left open due to the injury with Lars Nootbaar and his heels.
dude, Velasquez, 27 years old. He's bounced around the last couple of years, but former fifth-round pick back in 2017 by the Cubs. Look, all he's done is taken this opportunity and run with it. And all of a sudden, like, you kind of look at him and say, all right, well, he's hitting for power. He's hitting for average. He's doing all the things that you want him to do. I think you could easily see him not only make this roster, but you could see him starting in left field on opening day. I absolutely could see that there. I know that they have used Fermin. I was actually talking to the guys on TMA the other day. I was like, I don't know. If I'm hard-pressed right now, I still think that they go with the platoon guy in Fermin who's bounced around. But I think that Fermin might be best in that role where he just kind of bounces around wherever he is. Good bat-to-ball guy. Might need to strike while the iron's hot, and it certainly has been hot for Velasquez. And whenever it is that Newt is able to play and he comes back, if they do go that direction, boy, I hope he makes it a really hard decision for what to do, because that's what Ollie and that's what Chaim Bloom and this organization wants, is more tough decisions of who is going to be out there, who's going to be on the roster, and who's going to be taking at bats. Because I don't care right now if you are a non-roster invite or you're a first rounder. If you're producing, there's a good chance you're going to be playing. So I'm excited for him.
BT, last one for me. Speaking of being hot, Anthony Simonson leading all of the PBA in terms of the player standings. Just thoughts on him and Team Roto Grip. I know you love bowling.
Well, oh, gosh, you know me, all about a slippery lane. And the thing is with them, look, this is a guy who, you know, his dad was obviously in the game. That's how he kind of grew up at a lane. So you knew that he would be living up to what he's doing. Now Team Roto Grip, that's a new company, as you know, and they are all about it's all about how you finish when you're using their ball. But either way, it doesn't matter. I like what he's doing. Mm-hmm. I like the confidence that he has. I mean, Pete Weber, step over in a minute, because this guy is coming for you. He hasn't had that one hot mic moment of whatever you think you are, I am. Mm. But I think it's coming for him. Like, he really has built that confidence. So if you're not watching the PBA right now, shame on you, because you are missing out on a good player like the one that you just mentioned. I forgot his name.
Yep, we're looking forward to seeing more of that and Roto Grip. We'll see how well he performs this season. BT, we look forward to talking to you all season long. Thank you for joining us, and we will talk to you soon, brother.
Absolutely, guys. Thanks for having me. That Roto Grip is kind of like Spider Tack. It's like cheating, but it's so good.
See you, brother.
See you, boys.
That's Brad Thompson joining us. Look forward to talking to him all year long. We're going to have a good fun with baseball this year, and he'll be, I think, on once a week like he was last year.
He'll be on Wednesdays. Of course, if the Cardinals have a game going on, we'll have to make it work. But always fun talking with BT, and I'm intrigued by this team.
Indeed.
Who knows what it's going to look like?
Who knows?
I guess we'll just try and have fun.
We will see. We have the Gauntlet coming up in 15 minutes. Text in if you have not participated in the Gauntlet. Maybe Bradford will choose you. Next up, though, we have Bet the Board. That's here on 101 ESPN.
One more Blues talk. Check out the Last Minute Blues podcast with Alex Ferrario, Donnie Fandango, and Jeremy Rutherford on 101 ESPN. The guys bring you the latest news and nuggets on your St. Louis Blues.
The Last Minute Blues podcast is presented by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Your St. Louis roofing experts. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for free inspection. Watch or listen to the Last Minute Blues podcast now on our YouTube channel or at 101ESPN.com.
ESPN's Blues Fan of the Week.
Congratulations to Brian Pusek from Hillsboro, Missouri. He is our newest 101 ESPN Blues Fan of the Week.
Submit your pick now at 101ESPN.com to be the next Fan of the Week and take home a pair of tickets to an upcoming Blues game.
Our Blues Fan of the Week is presented by CarStar, your auto body repair experts. Locally owned with nationwide warranty. See us at carstar.com.
Strap yourself in. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane with Andrew Marsh, Bradford Bruns, and I'm Carey Davis, and it is time to bet the board. Marshy, do you have the standings?
I do have the standings,
How did we do? How does everyone do last night?
So, Carey, you picked up another point. Congratulations.
About
Thanks
time.
to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Yeah. Anthony picked up a point. He had Texas plus 1.5. And, of course, we know how that game ended. And then Jamie and myself missed. I had the over in the World Baseball Classic Championship game of 8.5. That did not hit. And the Carolina Hurricanes lost 5-1 to the Columbus Blue Jackets. So the current standings are Anthony with 8 points. I have 8 points. Jamie has 6 points. And you have 3.
Carey, that's pretty bold without Ant Edwards. I'm impressed, buddy.
I felt it in my bones.
Do it.
Felt it. See if I can do it again. Do you have, so Jamie is first or is Anthony first? Or you first?
I can go first. I don't think it really matters. I'm going to go with Jimmy Snuggerud tonight to have 3+ shots on goal. And that is at plus 100. So I'm getting plus odds for these 3 shots. If you look at his game log, the last game he played in against the Winnipeg Jets, he had 4 shots. Against Edmonton, only 1 shot. But if you go to Carolina, New York, and Anaheim, in those 3 games, he had 3 or more. So I'm banking on Jimmy Snuggerud to shoot the puck tonight.
All right. Jamie went with the Hurricanes on the money line. Did we check those odds? We make sure that those were acceptable.
Yeah, let me look at it real quick. So they're taking on the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight at minus 142 on the money line. Okay, so he is going back to the Hurricanes to win.
First you don't succeed, try again. And then Anthony has Dayton in the NIT. Who knew that they were playing? At minus 1.5. So, and then I am going to take the Los Angeles Clippers at plus 2.5. versus the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, I will be honest, Bradford, I didn't know Anthony Edwards wasn't playing last night, so that was just a hope and a prayer.
You're an honest man.
Probably why I have been struggling the way that I have. But I do see that Kawhi should be playing tonight, so I should be good. Who knows? Who really knows, man?
Yeah.
I mean, it's the NBA. It's not always going to play, is what I say.
Look, down the stretch, and this is not an indictment against Kawhi, but I would predict obviously for him to be missing some time and maintenance issues or whatever as opposed to Ant. But we'll see how the Wolves do consistently because he's going to miss some time due to that knee.
I think Kawhi is... Don't say that, man. He's been having like a really good year,
Ant Edwards, I mean. No. Sorry to confuse.
Kawhi.
No, Kawhi's... Hey.
He's been playing a lot.
Kawhi, without question, should have been that undisputed all-star selection over even my guy. And you know how I feel about the other man in L.A. You understand. And I will even admit that readily.
Kawhi has played 53 games this year, man. He's been playing a lot.
It's his best season in a while.
It is. He's healthy. He hadn't been dealing with a lot of injuries. Knock on wood for Kawhi. Hopefully he can continue it, and we will see how it goes for him. The brackets are out, and you can get signed up to play in this year's Bracket Madness Pick'em Challenge right now at 101ESPN.com. It is free to enter, and this year's top scorer will take home a $250 Amazon gift card and a 101 prize pack. See the contest rules and get signed up to play in Bracket Madness now at 101ESPN.com. Bracket Madness is refreshed by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And tomorrow, man, we're going to be out at Helen Fitzgerald's watching some basketball, talking some hoops, talking some sports. Our show, The Fast Lane, and BK and Ferrario will be there as well. So it'll be a good time, man.
Yeah, I think Tanner's going to stick around for a little bit and hang out with us, talk some sports, and then Jackson will be joining the show from 3 to 5. You know,
cool.
He loves basketball, so we'll get some of his his insights.
We should have a good time. Are you in tomorrow? Or
Oh,
no?
I'm back at the ranch.
You're
so
back,
whenever you guys want an update, you want to toss it to your boy.
Oh, you'll be okay. Cool. Yeah,
By all means.
we'll definitely ask you some things. I'm sure you have some content, and tonight's going to be a couple of more games, a couple more exciting games, hopefully, and then the tournament actually officially, I guess, I don't know if it officially began, but in my book, officially begins tomorrow with Ohio State and who are they playing? I forgot who they're playing. Ohio State.
You've got an 8-9 matchup right off of the bat. It's TCU, Ohio State.
Ohio State, there
and
it
then
is.
during the show around 3:30, that's scary when we get to see Arkansas tip off right about then. Yeah.
That's my dark horse, man. I don't even know if they're a dark horse because Darius Acuff Jr. is a baller, and he's going to put on a show. In my opinion, he's going to show people why he may potentially be the first pick taken in the NBA draft.
Am I a psychopath for only filling out one bracket?
No, so there's no, but I might be a psychopath for doing 3 or 4. You know, some people have rules
I feel
about.
like that's the standard, though.
Yeah, but some people get on you if you fill out more than one bracket. They kind of get. It's a touchy subject, Marsha. You got to be careful when you're doing these brackets.
You're a purist. I love that.
I just want to do one.
A couple of years ago, I switched the mentality ever so slightly. I'll do a maximum of 3, but there is one pure bracket, as in this is the law.
Yeah.
That's how it goes. That's Bradford Bruns, Andrew Marshall, Carey Davis. Coming up next, we got the Gauntlet on 101 ESPN.
It's free to enter, and this year's top scorer will take home a $250 Amazon gift card and a 101 prize pack. Must be 21 plus and a resident of Missouri or Illinois. See the contest rules and get signed up to play in Bracket Madness now at 101ESPN.com.
Brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.
WXOS HD1 East St. Louis 101 ESPN is driven by Brown and Crouppen Law Firm. Don't slow down. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN. 4 warriors. 4 categories, 1 challenger. Can you survive the gauntlet?
Brought to you by Blue Note Roofing. Roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit BlueNoteRoofingSTL.com for a free inspection.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane, and it's time for the Gauntlet, and our contestant today is Shane. Shane, how you doing?
Doing good. How you doing, man?
You're ready to play the Gauntlet?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do you want to take on Marsh, or do you want to take on me?
I'll take on you, Carey.
All right.
All right. Ready, Bradford? Carey Davis.
Good luck, Shane.
Thank you, sir. You too.
All right, Shane, you know the drill. You and Carey will each get the same 4 questions. If you get the question right without using the options, you'll get 2 points. If you have to use the options and you get it correct, you get 1 point. And, of course, if you miss the question altogether, you get 0 points. Are you ready to go, Shane?
Yes, sir.
All right, tell Bradford to spin that wheel.
Spin the wheel, Bradford.
Now, Shane, what category are you hoping for today?
Probably baseball.
Baseball. Well, that would make sense. Baseball season is almost upon us. The Cardinals won today. Unfortunately, the United States lost yesterday. Do we have baseball today, Bradford?
Numerous guests as well, Marshy, but no, the wheel chose otherwise, and the wheel chose it's actually been a minute, but you've got random today, Shane.
All right.
How do you feel about that one, Shane?
No, not great.
All right, well, Bradford is going to hand me the questions. Thank you very much, Bradford. Are you ready to go?
Yes.
All right. Question number 1. Last year, the men's Final Four field consisted of Florida, Duke, Houston, and who else?
I'll take the options.
Options are Tennessee, Michigan State, or Auburn.
Auburn. Final answer.
All right, Shane, question number 2. Can you tell us the song with which Donnie, the main villain in the Ted movie franchise, is obsessed?
I'll take the options.
All right, they are Tearing Up My Heart, I Think We're Alone Now, or Beat It.
We'll go with I Think We're Alone Now. Final answer.
Okay. Question number 3. What is the second most plentiful mineral in your body?
I think I'll do the options again.
All right. Options are phosphorus, potassium, or calcium.
We'll go calcium. Final answer.
And Shane, last but not least, we need you to identify Burt Bacharach's instrument of choice.
We'll do options again.
Piano, tuba, sousaphone.
We'll go tuba. Why not?
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's get Carey back in here. Shane, how are you feeling after that one?
Not too great.
Now, you wanted baseball. At least you got one sports question within that series of questions. Carey is back from the cone of silence. Carey.
Hello, gents.
Are you ready for random trivia today?
Oh, of course.
Pack a lunch.
Oh, my God.
And fire away because I'm in the house, so I know all of the grievances that may be there. They can come out.
You told us the other day that random was going to be very difficult.
All right, here we go. Question number 1, Carey. Last year, the men's Final Four field consisted of Florida, Duke, Houston, and who else?
Why don't I know that? Florida played. Well, no. Houston beat Duke. Who did Florida beat? Oh, man. I need the options. I have no clue.
Options are Tennessee, Michigan State, or Auburn.
I think it was Tennessee. Was it Tennessee? We'll go Tennessee. Final answer.
Okay, CD, question number 2, completely different. Can you tell us the song with which Donnie, the main villain in the movie franchise Ted, he was obsessed with this one?
Hell no.
No? Didn't watch the films? No? Okay.
Options.
Tearing Up My Heart, I Think We're Alone Now, or Beat It.
Let's go with I Think We're Alone Now. Final answer.
Question number 3. What is the second most plentiful mineral in your body?
Number 2.
Oh, man, I wouldn't. Options.
Options are phosphorus, potassium, or calcium.
Second most. What was that question? Second most plentiful?
What is the second most plentiful mineral in your body?
Phosphorus, potassium, and calcium?
Those are the 3.
I'm going to go with potassium. Final answer.
And finally, question number 4. Carey, we need you to identify Burt Bacharach's instrument of choice.
Who the hell is that?
He's on your playlist. Don't fool me.
Who is that guy? Never heard of. That's not a real person. Options.
Piano, tuba, or sousaphone?
Burt Bacharach. Piano, tuba. What was piano? What was the second one?
Tuba.
And what was the last one?
The sousaphone, of course.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. Tuba. Final answer.
All right.
All right, let's go over these. We have Carey going up against Shane in random. Why don't we start with that final question? Identify Burt Bacharach's instrument of choice. Carey, you just said tuba. Shane also said tuba.
Probably sousaphone.
The correct answer is...
As Austin Powers once said, ladies and gentlemen, the great Burt Bacharach plays piano.
Piano is the answer. 0-0 is the score. Let's go to question number 3. What is the second most plentiful mineral in your body? Carey, you went with potassium, while Shane went with calcium. The correct answer is...
Calcium is the biggest one, but phosphorus is number 2.
0-0, still the score. All right.
Game, eh?
Let's go to question number 2. Can you tell us the song with which Donnie, the main villain of the Ted franchise, is obsessed? Carey, you went with I Think We're Alone Now, and you took the options. Shane said I Think We're Alone Now.
He didn't take the options.
The correct answer is...
Donnie loved to dance and sway to that Tiffany. I think we're alone now.
But... You both needed the options.
Oh, Marcy, you.
1-1.
You.
1-1 is the score heading into our final question. A sports question in random, nonetheless. Last year, the men's Final Four field consisted of Florida, Duke, Houston, and who else? Carey, you took the options, and you said Tennessee. Shane also took the options and went with Auburn. If it is Tennessee, Carey, you will win. If it is Auburn, Shane will win, and you will head to the penalty box, Carey. If it's Michigan State, we're heading to a walk-off. Shane.
You have chosen wisely.
Those Auburn Tigers, go Tigers.
Houston played Tennessee in the Elite Eight.
Oh, my gosh.
Shane, congratulations on the win today.
Thank you.
Good job, Shane.
Oh, good job, Carey. That was tough. That was tough.
That was tough. That was bad. Well,
sorry,
Shane,
Carey.
you'll be back tomorrow taking on Andrew Marsh, I guess.
Or maybe Jackson. Jackson will be around too. So
or maybe T-Bone. Who knows?
Who knows? Yeah, we're going to have a cast of characters
we'll have
there
a bunch
tomorrow.
of people there tomorrow. So we'll talk to you tomorrow, Shane. Have a good night. Have a great one.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. You too.
Oh, man. Good job.
All right, so I'm taking notes. Strike, band, anything and everything having to do with instruments. Okay,
Listen.
those are gone moving forward. Science, perhaps, too. But these two don't even fall close to the category of spelling. I've learned my lesson, Snake Pit.
Yeah. Snake Pit didn't like the spelling ones at all. I'm disappointed that I didn't get the Final Four question right. That's terrible. Terrible. But live and you learn. I'll be in the penalty box for the next segment. And the next segment we have is What's Trending. That's coming up next on 101 ESPN.
This is Joel Holfert, and it's game day on your home of the Blues, 101 ESPN.
Blues Game Day on 101 ESPN is presented by Buffalo Wild Wings, the ultimate arena for wings and wins.
The Johnny Londoff Chevrolet family has been providing the best automotive prices and award-winning service in St. Louis for close to 85 years. I myself have been a customer for over 25 years of Londoff Chevrolet. My fiance is a Londoff Chevrolet customer. All of my children are driving Londoff Chevrolet vehicles because not only do we believe in the vehicles, we believe in the people over at Londoff Chevrolet. Look, at Johnny Londoff Chevrolet, buying a car it's more than a price tag. From the moment you walk onto the showroom floor till the moment you drive off the lot in your new or your pre-owned vehicle, the Londoff team is there to treat you like family. Their goal is not just to sell you a car, it's to make your Londoff experience incredible. They want to make you a customer for life, and they want to make your friends customers. They want you to tell everybody about how awesome it is to purchase your vehicle at Londoff Chevrolet. Now the best part, 2 locations. The original one in Florissant, Missouri, the brand new Autoplex located out in St. Peters. Visit either location, tell them Jamie Rivers sent you in, but if you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit Londoff.com or LondoffAutoplex.com. Are you kidding me?
This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. What are the hot topics in the sports world?
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here?
Here's what's trending.
And welcome back into the Fast Lane on a Wednesday afternoon right here on 101 ESPN. Bradford Bruns, Andrew Marsh, as well as Carey Davis. And guys, we're going to swing it to the professional gridiron. I was listening yesterday after the fact when you had talked a bit about the wheeling and dealing performed by those Miami Dolphins. Jalen Waddle, so long. Well, today, though, it has been confirmed to Adam Schefter, perhaps to nobody's surprise, that one player who is actually off limits when it comes to any and all trades trade conversations moving forward. That would be the star running back, Devon Achane. He is not to be had. So at minimum, I guess, CD, Jeff Hafley and company, one player, one pillar offensively around whom to build.
Yeah, they're going to, I guess, lean on him heavily because who the heck else are they going to pass it to? They traded away Jalen Waddle and they let Tyreek Hill go and release him earlier this offseason. So they're going to lean heavily on him. And Devon Achane did a great job. He's done a really good job his last couple of years there. And I think he's a really explosive back. Now, the question will be is how does that change when you don't have those explosive receivers on the outside? We talk about it all the time. You know, when you play complementary football and you can have, you know, dynamic receivers, that tends to keep those safeties out of the box. If you don't have those guys, you may be facing 8-man boxes as opposed to 7-man boxes, and we'll see how well he's able to perform with that if that ends up being the case.
What do you think that they're ultimately trying to accomplish? Because we talked about this yesterday, how weird it was that they're moving on from their best wide receiver at this point while bringing in a new quarterback, and now they are keeping their star running back. What is their goal for this season?
I have no clue. I mean, I know they have 2 draft picks in this upcoming draft. You probably try to look to get better in that regard, and I would assume that it's shaving money, right? You're getting some of the money off of the books to be able to go younger and trust that, hope that Malik Willis can gain some camaraderie with whoever you bring in and they have some success. Sometimes it's just giving another guy an opportunity. You really didn't know what version of Tyreek Hill. I don't think you will know what version of Tyreek Hill you'll have due to the traumatic leg injury that he dealt with. We know that he's a speed guy, and he tore his knee up, tore his leg up. So I don't know how he'll be when he returns. But Jalen Waddle was a bit confusing for me because I felt like you signed Malik Willis with the expectation that he would be throwing to Jalen Waddle, and then you move on from him. So I guess their mindset is we're going to lean heavily on the running game and, you know, give some of these younger receivers that are on the roster, and maybe they draft somebody in the draft next month.
Well, that brings me to my next question for you, CD, because you've identified clearly an elite back. You're putting everything into him. He led the league last season. Obviously, you know what you have as far as the speed threat, the speed merchant, and the lightning there, 5.7 yards per carry. By the same token, though, 230-ish carries, only eclipsed 20 in 4 of the Dolphins' games. Is that one of the foremost things you have to identify in the draft? Who's going to be basically the thunder there? What is the ceiling and the dynamic?
I'm always of the mindset. I really hate having that split backfield. I'm not a fan of it. I thought, as much as I love David Montgomery, I thought Jahmyr Gibbs should have been getting the bulk of the carries, and I think that they kind of are trending that way, which is why they traded him to the Texans. I like to see my running back get 25 touches. 25 to 30 touches. That could be, 20 carries, 10 catches, 23 carries, 7 catches, 27 catches, 27 carries, 3 catches, whatever the case may be, somewhere in that range, 20 to 25 to 30 touches for an elite running back. I think that really keeps them involved in the game, and they, most of them can handle it. So I hope that Devon Achane is of that mindset going into this season that, I'm the bell cow. I'm the guy that I can look around this huddle and I can look around the locker room and I don't see anybody with the explosiveness and the play expectation that I have. And so it's going to be heavily on me, leaning on me for this offense to have success. So I would assume that that's the mindset and that's the role and that's the route that they're going to go.
And he's incredibly adept as a receiving threat, too.
Indeed.
So we'll see how that comes to fruition. Also, from the city of Philadelphia today, the Eagles have a brand new backup quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. On Monday, we had talked about Justin Fields heading to Kansas City. Well, somebody who's been even more well-traveled with that grizzled veteran experience, Andy Dalton, bound to be Jalen Hurts, the backup there for the Eagles, moved by Carolina in exchange for a 2027 7th-round draft pick. What type of a fit is Dalton in Philadelphia, Carey?
Well, I think he's going to be I think he's probably can be good for Jalen Hurts. Just that backup that gives you the another set of eyes that are not a coach that has done a lot of things, a lot of really good things in football, have been around for a long time. We saw him in Carolina helping Bryce Young in that regard, and even was able to fill in for Bryce Young when they felt like they needed to give him some time off to kind of reset. So if you do have an injury or you have something come up with Jalen Hurts, you have a comparable backup in Andy Dalton that can go in there and take care of business if need be. But I do think he's there to kind of help Jalen Hurts in that on the field aspect of it, where I'm seeing this, I can help you with this, I can help you see what maybe you're not seeing, and that can help him be a better quarterback on the field.
Dalton, it somewhat surprised me to learn, actually, he only made a total of 7 starts during his 3 seasons in Carolina. It seemed like more. He's 38 now.
Is he that? Oh, I didn't know that.
38.
He's been around for a while. So, like I said, he's a solid backup in the league, and I think he understands his role at this point. Did a great job, I feel like, in Carolina of being that mentor for Bryce Young. And again, when they needed to reset Bryce Young, Andy Dalton went in and started a few games and had some success, and then they let Bryce Young get back in there, and there was no anger or frustration. One of the best things when you're a quarterback and you've kind of reached that point of your career where the starts are no longer, in front of you. You're more slated to be a backup quarterback. You want to have a quarterback that is willing and ready to help the starter get all of the information that he needs to be successful. And I think that's what Andy Dalton is.
Yeah, and I don't think Tanner McKee was necessarily providing that for the Eagles, and I'm sure he'll end up being traded somewhere. Where that is, I don't know. He hasn't really received a look by any means, basically, because the Eagles have been so good. Why give him a good look? But who knows? Maybe there's a team out there that sees his potential, and I have no idea.
Not sure if he's moving the needle for too many organizations.
I don't think so either, but I did see the first thing that pops up on the old Google machine is an article about the Cleveland Browns potentially trading for him because they needed another quarterback.
They don't have enough. They don't have enough quarterbacks on the roster.
Why not? Why not? One more from the golf world quickly. Somebody who's 12 years older than Andy Dalton. Yes, the gift that keeps on giving, at least as far as churning out with the news cycles. Tiger Woods, a press conference following a TGL event. It was yesterday, I believe. At 50, Tiger now eligible for the Champions Tour. Still trying to recover from his umpteenth procedure, whether that was on the back or anything else. He did not totally dismiss, guys, the possibility of getting out there for next month's Masters in Augusta. At this point in time, how much do you care about Tiger even trying to make a go for it when it comes to the majors?
For me, I just want to see Tiger healthy.
Right.
Like, I think it's a lot to walk 18 holes in one day when you've had as many surgeries, back surgeries, knee surgeries, but then to try to do it for 4 days, I think that is... It's got to be a bear on him just every single day. And I remember, I don't know when it was, a few years ago, just watching him walk was painful, let alone swing a dang on golf club. So if he's better, if he's healthy, if he can make it through an entire tournament, if he can make the cut, I'm all for it. I think Tiger Woods brings eyeballs to golf, even if he's not at his best. I think people want to see him because we all hold out hope that at some point he'll reach that level that he did, in his past. Is it realistic? Probably not. But we all hope that it can happen, and we'll all be tuned in if he's able to make the cut.
Yeah, I have zero expectation for Tiger to, if he does end up playing in the Masters, to win or do well. I just want to see him play. I remember seeing him here in St. Louis when he was making a resurgence, and the vibe on Sunday going up against Brooks Koepka.
Amazing. Was
so cool, man. It was the coolest thing. Like, for me, I've only been to a few PGA Tour events. It's just a vibe. It's just a vibe, especially when Tiger's around. So anybody that will be there in Augusta, if he does end up playing, I think that's a special moment, especially for younger kids that haven't been able to watch him play, if they're there and whatnot, or just on TV. I think it's a really cool experience, and hopefully he ends up playing. Because anytime Tiger Woods is golfing, I think people want to tune in, and, like what you said, Carey.
And generally speaking, the game of golf altogether, whether you buy into the nonsense still surrounding LIV versus PGA, if you're talking about sheer outright talent among McIlroy, Scheffler, Bryce, and Rahm, etc., the game is in a phenomenal place. And yet, mark my words, if Tiger does indeed show up, if he's there, ramping it up for the week ahead at Augusta, there's still going to be no greater concentration of attention on anybody else there in the field than Tiger Woods.
100%.
Years on.
Yep. He's always the biggest draw. No matter whether he's playing well or not, people want to see him play. So hopefully he's healthy and hopefully he's back to it and playing at the level or close to the level that he did at one point in his career. That's Bradford Bruns, Andrew Marshall, Carey Davis. Coming up next, get your texts in for the Sports Six Pack. Sports Six Pack Part 1 coming up next on 101 ESPN.
The Cardinals' home opener is next Thursday at Busch Stadium, and 101 ESPN will be broadcasting from Ballpark Village from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Opening day is finally here, and we'll be set up just steps away from Busch Stadium with the morning after and BK and Ferrario live from Ballpark Village. Our Cardinals opening day coverage is refreshed by Budweiser. Cardinal fans, this Bud's for you. Remember to drink responsibly.
And brought to you by Rawlings. Visit the Rawlings Experience in Westport Plaza for everything baseball, softball, and to be considered one of the finest in the field.
My friends over at Circus Sports have an amazing month planned ahead for everybody. Derek Stevens and his crew do an amazing job of pumping up all of the big tournaments, and this one is the biggest. Get in on the brackets, get in on the futures bets, get in on the money line or the player props. Sports betting is great at Circus Sports. In fact, it's sports betting the way it should be. They've got high betting limits, and all you have to do is download the app. It's easy. Go to the App Store or the Google Play Store. Find the white Circus Sports logo. Click on that. That represents the state of Missouri. Once you do that, create your account. You are good to go. Again, they've got great money lines, futures bets, the best odds of any app that is out there currently. And you're going to love the customer service. If you have a problem, you don't talk to a bot. No, you talk to an actual human being who's going to walk you through the process because Circus Sports cares about your happiness, and also they want to make sure you're having a good time using their app, and and hopefully you're winning. And they celebrate the winners too. They don't cut you off or cap you in any way whatsoever. So please download the Circus Sports app or visit circusports.com today. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Cardinals Blues hockey can be heard exclusively on 101 ESPN. Get the info you need before and after every Blues game with the First Community pre- and post-game show. First Community Credit Union.
Take your best shot with First Community and presented by Scott Lee Heating Company and Urban Chestnut Brewing Company.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Liberatore locked in for opener. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns. This Sports Center update is brought to you by Universal Windows Direct. Next Thursday at Busch Stadium, 3:15 p.m. will mark the time for first pitch as the Cardinals begin their 2026 regular season against visiting Tampa Bay. And Matthew Liberatore will get the assignment on the bump. The team that drafted Liberatore back in 2018 will be the opposition. Liberatore starting for Ali Marmol next Thursday, March the 26th. Today, meanwhile, in Jupiter, the Cardinals took on the Houston Astros and downed Houston by the final of 4-1. Starter Kyle Leahy pitched 5 innings in all, fanning 6 in that contest. To the ice tonight, the Blues taking on Calgary on the road. Puck drop at 8:30 right here on your home for the Note 101 ESPN pregame featuring Alex Ferrario starting 1 hour earlier at 7:30. The Sports Center update has been brought to you by Universal Windows Direct.
You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
I have a question.
It's time for the fast lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions. I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
Refreshed by Urban Chestnut. Urban Chestnut Swickle Light Premium Light Beer. Live your lifestyle, St. Louis.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. Time for the Sports Six-Pack Part 1. Bradford, question number 1, please.
Question number 1.
A good one, guys, right off of the bat from the Grant Francis fan club. Over the past few years, we've heard a lot about top-flight Cardinals prospects like Tink Hintz, Quinn Matthews, even Rom, among others. So why should we trust the latest group, led by Liam Doyle and others, to be any different?
Well, I think they were selected by a different person. And I think the focus for this group of prospects, was solely, a lot of it was on pitching, in my opinion, and making sure that they got higher ceiling potential, and I hate that word, players in the pitching department. And so I think that would give or should give you a level of excitement. And again, you don't know. Nobody knows what any of these players are going to be. You can assume, you can hear the reports, and you can hear kind of the thoughts of who they are and what they are. But I do think that they went out and got higher ceiling players that are prospects. And I do think that the focus has been on upgrading the pitching department in terms of, every aspect of it, whether it's on the field, off the field, anything that they could do to be better in that perspective department. I think they've done that this offseason, and that would be my reason for why I would believe that it's going to be in the right direction.
I mean, if we're being honest, we have no idea, right? We have no idea if these guys are ultimately going to work out. I think that you just have to have a sense of hope that they ultimately do work out. And like you mentioned, it's a new wave in terms of who is managing this club up in the front office. And you just have to go with that, right? Like, do you trust Chaim Bloom and everybody that is working with him to ultimately get these guys to where they need to be? Right now, I choose to believe that until proven otherwise. So I'm going to just rely on hope at this point that these guys will ultimately make a difference in the coming years. And we'll just see what happens from there. Ultimately, we really don't know. No, we have no clue.
We don't. And I also don't think the ultimate stories, guys, have been written for some of the previously mentioned prospects either. Now, maybe you have to revise and alter your expectations. Is Tink Hintz ever going to become a grade A starting pitcher? We heard the concerns about the slight frame, the stature. We've heard those now for years. Maybe he winds up being more of a bullpen piece. Doesn't mean he can't be an effective part of your team moving forward. Quinn Matthews last season, we were trumpeting the arrival. Well, what happened? AAA, A, figured him out, and B, control issues persisted. Dude's incredibly young. All of a sudden, you don't just wash that away. Even a TK Roby, injuries intervened there. Mm-hmm. So I'm not willing to basically say, hey, let's immediately kick all these guys to the curb, because why? You see how the major league staff evaluates and develops them too. Drafting is just one part of the process.
Indeed.
Question number 2.
This one comes from the 636. According to ChatGPT, the ever-reliable source, Mizzou will lose in the second round, SLU in the first round, and Illinois, Carey, sorry to say, in the Sweet 16. Again, per ChatGPT. So which of these outcomes, I'm going to revise this a little bit, which of the early exits, earlier than expected, would be the most disappointing for the 3 local teams?
I mean, SLU losing in the first round would be disappointing just because of the season that they had, and I think the high expectations for them. And now, granted, the last, handful of games didn't go in the way that I think a lot of fans would have wanted it to, but I do think that they had an outstanding year and were performing at a really high level. And if you were to tell me that, they were, and it wouldn't be an upset, Georgia's favored by 2.5, but if you were telling me that they lost to Georgia in that first round, I think a lot of SLU fans would be very disappointed because you don't know. Like, I think you trust that Mizzou and Illinois can have an opportunity to get back to this point. You don't know if SLU is going to be this good next year when the next time they'll make it this far in the tournament and have this good of a season. So I think it would be SLU.
I agree. I do think, with this question, saying, okay, Illinois, if they lose in the Sweet 16, I look at that as them losing to a really good Houston team. So would I find that to be disappointing? I mean, yes, to a degree, but I think with what you mentioned in SLU in the season that they had, I mean, they have an opportunity to win that game and take on Michigan. I don't think anybody is assuming or thinking that they'll beat the Wolverines. I don't know anybody that is thinking that besides them, right? But I do think it would be extremely disappointing if SLU didn't win that first game. And like you said, they are a dog in that game. Mizzou, I think Mizzou fans, and correct me if I'm wrong, Bradford, I think Mizzou fans are just happy to be here.
Happy-ish. Because of the head coach. Because of the head coach. There is this expectation here, or the reality, I should say. Dennis Gates needs a win in the tournament. I'm not going to excuse that or throw it away whatsoever. And I do have a slightly different opinion on this, for instance, than a BK. I believe at this point in time, Mizzou is playing with house money. I really do for this coming season because the expectations, the hopes, the optimism, it didn't exactly reign supreme when you were going into that game versus, as you know, Carey, Illinois in December, this season altogether in Illinois, and you got dump trucked by 50-ish points, and then to follow up, you really had no idea how the conference portion of the season would go. This team rebounded in the most authoritative way. Yes, the returns, respectively, of Pierce and certainly Stone had a lot to do with that, but everybody in mid-Missouri, frankly, Marshy, I think was looking forward already to next year when you have Crow, when you have a boatload of top 100 recruits coming in, and that's going to be the biggest litmus test, I think, for the longevity of a Dennis Gates in Columbia. Because this year, yes, he hasn't gotten the job done. Last season, his team was upset by the 11th seed. We know that. This is a very comparable matchup. It was a fine stretch run for the regular season. It's not a make or break situation for me. Whereas if I'm looking at SLU, and I am a little more harsh with the commentary here, but it wouldn't be as much of a disappointment for me for SLU to lose in the first round now as opposed to a month plus ago, because I have seen too much in the way of unpredictability. Marshy, you identified it on Monday, especially playing a full 40 minutes. Yeah. Can you promise me that against Georgia? I'm not saying the Bulldogs are world beaters, but no, I'm not anticipating that. But for a season-long arc for those purposes, Carey, it would probably be Illinois failing to make the Sweet 16 because of such a fantastic start. Yeah. And it almost would feel as if you've kind of, you don't want to say wasted, but squandered legitimately, literally, a second-team All-America season from your best player, too.
I think if they didn't make it to the Sweet 16, that'd be extremely disappointing. I'm of the mindset, I know Houston is in that bracket, and I know Florida is in that bracket, but I am of the mindset that if they can figure some things out, get a few stops. I mean, they are a team that can score with the best of them. If they can get a few stops and in key moments get those stops, and I think that was the issue against Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament. You didn't get those key stops. You were up 15, and you just somehow, some way allowed them to get rebounds and more opportunities on the offensive end, and you didn't get those stops. And so you ended up losing that game in overtime. For me, I think Sweet 16 is the bare minimum, in my opinion, for Illinois.
Right.
And Elite 8, Final Four should be the expectation. So hopefully they get everything together and figure some things out, because they have been one of the best teams in the country this year, on and off in different spurts of the season. So we'll see how it goes.
Question number 3.
More hoops, CD. Let's head to the association, the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis. Boy, it is the saga that keeps evolving, twisting, and turning, right? So Milwaukee, per Shams, of course, of ESPN and ESPN.com, Milwaukee is of the opinion, Carey, it seems that, you know what? This is, for all intents and purposes, a lost season. I'm not even going to call it an ethical tank along your lines, Marshy.
Organic.
Organic tank.
Excuse me. Yes, organic. Not whatsoever. We want to shut you down and prepare for whatever that next chapter may be. Giannis, evidently, is like, the heck with that.
Yeah.
I'm playing and maybe setting the table for wherever my next stop may be. What's going on there?
I think this is the conversation we continue to have, players versus front office. You'll never convince a player that tanking or not playing is in the best option for him. I think that players always want to play the game. They don't want to sit out. For the most part, you got guys that do take, the load management, I think, a little too far. But competitive players, the Milwaukee Bucks are probably trying to protect their investment, which is Giannis Antetokounmpo this offseason. They know that they're probably moving on from him. I would assume with this news coming out, with them wanting to shut him down and him not wanting to be shut down, that marriage is probably headed toward a divorce with no doubt about it, because they were thinking about trading him at the trade deadline, and now here they are, knowing that this offseason you can probably get a haul. Not probably, you will get a haul for a healthy Giannis Antetokounmpo. You don't want him tweaking anything. You don't want him stepping on a curb. You don't want him straining a calf. He already has dealt with a few calf issues this season. You don't want that turning into a torn Achilles. So I think the Milwaukee Bucks are trying to protect what they have invested in and make sure that they can get the most out of it. And Giannis is like, no, hell no. I want to play basketball. That's what I do. And it's going to get messy probably going to get really messy here.
This is how bad it has gotten for Milwaukee in 25-26. You trail the Charlotte Hornets by 6.5 for the 10th play-in spot in the Western Conference, or Eastern Conference, rather.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Carey, Concanippel, is he the guy who can actually give hope to that franchise? I knew he was good playing in kind of the shadow of Cooper Flagg at Duke. I didn't think he was this good right off of the bat.
I think they have a really good team. I think Brandon Miller is a really good basketball player. LaMelo obviously is a good basketball player. I think they have a young team that is probably ascending. They still got some work to do, but I do think Concanippel is going to be, he's shooting the lights out. He shoots it really well. So I think that they are heading in the right direction for that young group. If they can continue to ascend and work together as young players, they could probably be something that is going to be a little bit dangerous for the Eastern Conference down the line. That's Bradford Bruns, Andrew Marsh, I'm Carey Davis. Coming up, we got part 2 of the Sports Six Pack. That's next on the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
The Blues play on 101 ESPN.
Big save on one end, tie game on the other.
Tonight, Blues and Flames. Pregame at 7:30. Puck drop at 8:30.
Score! He tucks it in with a great move.
This is your exclusive home for Blues hockey. 101 ESPN.
Right now, FanDuel is dropping bonus bets into everyone's account for the tournament. All you have to do is opt in to claim your bonus. Use them on your bracket picks, the money lines, the point spreads, totals, game props, or even same-game parlays. Don't wait. These bets are only available for a limited time, and we talked about the first 4, those final 2 games ending tonight, and the tournament begins tomorrow with Ohio State taking on TCU. Should be a great matchup to start the tournament off, and it's going to be fun. So get those bets in. Choose the money line you like. Pick the total you like. Pick the point spread of your favorite team, and all you have to do is go visit FanDuel.com/local to learn more. You must be 21 plus and present in Missouri. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Max bonus $500 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Monster Energy SMX World Championship. Two former pros and one average Joe. You're listening to The Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
I have a question.
It's time for The Fast Lane to answer your sports questions.
I want to ask you a bunch of questions, and I want to have them answered immediately.
Asking me all these weird questions.
Answer the question.
Answer the question.
Answer me!
Refreshed by Urban Chestnut. Urban Chestnut Swickle Light Premium Light Beer. Live your lifestyle, St. Louis.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. Ready for part 2 of the Sports Six Pack. Bradford, question number 4, please.
Question number 4.
Well, guys, Walrus King in the Snake Pit got me thinking on this one. We were talking, of course, about expectations in this year's tournament for Mizzou, Illinois, and SLU. Let's spin it forward to next season at Mizzou Arena, where the fans are going to evidently get quite the show, courtesy of one Jason Crow Jr., combo guard, heralded as one of the best recruits, prospects in the entire country. So, CD, do you think that Jason Crow Jr., who, by the way, averaged more than 35 per game for his prep career. 43 and a half in his senior season.
That's not bad.
Could he do more for this program over the long haul than Michael Porter Jr., one of Columbia's own, several years ago?
Michael Porter Jr., he dealt with a lot of injuries. There's a foot issue or ankle. What was it?
We already saw the back. We already saw the back issues.
Yeah, so, I mean, if he's healthy, if Jason Crow is healthy and he can go out there and, score to the level. We were talking about it during the break. He's 6'3", which, is not overly tall, but you're a point guard / shooting guard. We were speaking about Darius Acuff. I think he's only 6'4", and he's a scorer. He goes and gets it, the guard over at Arkansas. So I think that if Jason Crow can score it like they need to, I think Dennis Gates, I think he likes those types of players, those guys that can get up and down, shoot it well, and get to the bucket and score at will. I think that's basically what Dennis Gates wants for his team and his point guard / shooting guards to be able to get up and get down and score points.
And I was talking about this actually not long ago with my brother, a fellow Mizzou zealot, and I did find it interesting that down the stretch this season, Dennis Gates was very purposeful about, number one, installing T.O. Barrett with more and more responsibilities. He took over the starting point guard spot later in the season from Anthony Robinson. But did you notice how frequently he then proceeded to play off the ball? That's not going to be a coincidence when you're talking about somebody who's going to be running and orchestrating the offense next year as a true freshman in Crow. But I remember the mammoth expectations that accompanied Porter when he arrived in Columbia, and he only was limited. He played a grand total, Carey, of 3 games.
Yeah.
3 before being drafted number 14 overall by Denver. And I'm curious, as far as how his pro career has turned out to this point. We know that he moved on after last season to the hole that is Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Nets. Has he maximized that talent in the way you thought he might as a high-level prospect way back when?
I thought when he was in Denver, I thought that was the best place for him. I thought they had the way that they were going with Jokic, he didn't have to, he was the knockdown shooter. Jamal Murray as the point guard. You had a lot of talent on that team and won an NBA championship. But everybody eventually becomes a free agent. You want to be paid, you get traded, you get moved on. I don't know. Sometimes where you end up kind of dictates how your career goes. And when you're in Denver and you're playing with one of the greatest players to play the game, the expectation is we're competing for championships. And when you go to Brooklyn, that ain't the expectation, man. So it can have a huge impact on your career and the direction that it goes in.
You can get yourself.
That's kind of where we are with Michael Porter Jr.
Get yourself 25 a game. That's fine.
Beautiful,
but it
man.
seems hollow.
But you are
hollow.
eliminated from the playoffs today. You got 17 wins. You got one more win than the Washington Wizards, and we know they ain't trying. That's bad, man.
Effective immediately.
Question number 5.
All right, guys, we're going to keep it going with the college hoops from the 618. Which of these predictions is a little more far-fetched? Would it be Illinois losing to Duke in the semis? Oh, there you go. That's a run. Or SLU losing to Texas Tech in the Sweet 16?
I think for me it would be SLU losing to Texas Tech in the Sweet 16, given the fact that you need to beat Michigan to ultimately get there. I think Illinois can make that run. I don't know if SLU can.
I think Michigan is a large team. Like, they got some big dudes on their team. They can shoot it well, and their interior presence is like they got some really big dudes. Illinois does too, and that's why when I watch them, I'm like, okay, Michigan has pretty much everything you need. That would be a feat if SLU is able to beat Georgia and then go and beat Michigan and make it to the Sweet 16. That would be outstanding. I think the same could be said for Illinois, though. I do think that Illinois they have everything you want. They have an elite scorer. They have a secondary scorer. They have the inside production. They have the knockdown shooter that hits the open jumper, the three-pointer, and Jake Davis. Like, they got a lot of the requirements to be a really good team. Do they have the grit and the toughness to lock down on defense? Because that's when it's going to matter. And I think that's the only thing that they are lacking. They even got the really good point guard in Boswell. Like, they got all of the elements, but do they have the grit and toughness? Because that, in my opinion, is what it's going to require to make a run to the Elite Eight, Final Four type of run. I think that's what they'll need. They got all the other elements. Will they have that for this tournament?
And one more quick note about that would be dream matchup of SLU and Texas Tech in the Sweet 16. I'm not even sure, guys, if Texas Tech, frankly, is a lock to get out of that first round. I'm looking at a 5-12 there. Yeah. The Zips fear the Zips. And should you win that game, Bama, as we know, from night to night, as explosive as any team in the country. Let's just say that the status of your second leading scorer is probably in question at this point. Look it up, folks. But Alabama gets past Hofstra. I think the Crimson Tide knock off Tech before you even get to Michigan. Really do.
Could be.
All right.
Is that it? We got
question number 6.
One more. We'll make it quick. We'll go off the board from the 314. Did you guys see the other night after Michael B. Jordan won Best Actor at the Oscars for the movie Sinners? He celebrated in style by heading to In-N-Out Burger.
Really cool.
If you won an award like that, anything in your field, and you had your choice of any dining option immediately thereafter, what are you eating? What are you doing?
I mean, I'm probably not going to a burger joint. I can tell you that. I don't know where I would go, but it would probably be some fine dining. But I thought it was really cool for Michael B. Jordan to go there. He had all the paparazzi there. They were taking pictures. I'm sure there's something working in the works with him and In-N-Out where, there's some type of, you show up here for this, we show up here for you.
He's not eating a lot of those burgers, though.
I doubt it. So I thought it was a really cool moment, obviously, for him to actually win the Oscar. That was a great movie, the number of awards that they won. Ryan Coogler winning an award for, Best Picture. I thought it was just a really cool moment. And I thought Michael B. Jordan's speech, giving honor and praise to all of the staff and all of the cast and everyone that worked with him. You can see Delroy Lindo, how excited he was.
He was great.
He was so excited. He's like a proud uncle or proud father watching Michael B. Jordan win that. So I thought it was a really cool moment.
If we're just sticking to like fast food, if I had to go to a fast food restaurant immediately after winning some award, I would probably go to Hardee's.
Hardee's?
I love Hardee's.
Really?
Oh, I love a good hot ham and cheese.
Is it the star that does it for you? That cute little mascot there?
No, it's not that, Bradford. It's food.
Do you get bothered? Like in some places they call it Carl's Jr. Have you experienced that?
I've been to California.
Yeah,
it's Carl's Jr. out there.
I always wondered what's the difference? I don't know.
Oh, I think it's the same place. It's just
why do they
named-
name it differently in places?
That I
in
do
California?
not know.
Maybe somebody on the text line knows.
don't know.
Why do they call it Carl's Jr.?
And some locations have a red burrito attached and others do not, right?
Oh, that might be the case too.
Really?
I don't know.
For real.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know the answer to that one, but I do know that I would love a good hot ham and cheese with some curly fries.
That doesn't sound bad. That's Andrew Marsh, Bradford Bruns. I'm Kerry Davis. Coming up next, we have the biggest question of the day when we return on the Fast Lane.
The first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament tips off this Thursday, and you can watch all the madness with 101 ESPN. Join BK and Ferrario and the Fast Lane this Thursday as they broadcast from Helen Fitzgerald's. Then Friday, you can join both shows live from Ray's Sports House in Soulard. Come watch the games with BK and Ferrario and the Fast Lane. Sign up for 101 ESPN giveaways and enjoy a cold Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Learn more now at 101ESPN.com.
Pure Performance is your one-stop shop for all aftermarket modifications. And when it comes to tires, nobody does a better job. And I'm sure you're thinking to yourself that, well, it's aftermarket stuff. All they have is those oversized tires or off-road tires. No, Pure Performance, they specialize in all tires. So no matter what kind of vehicle you drive, Pure Performance has got tires and wheels for you. And let's not forget, right now in the month of March, when you purchase a set of wheels and tires, you get free sensors and installation. They really are the best in the business, and they're making sure that they take great care of you. And while you're there, check out the accessories. Again, whatever vehicle you're driving, doesn't matter. They've got tires and accessories, and your vehicle is going to be taken care of great by all the technicians over there at Pure Performance. So stop by the shop, ask for Shelby, tell her Jamie Rivers sent you in. If you can't get there in person, get there online. Visit them at pureperformance.com. Again, those are my friends over at Pure Performance. That's pure, P-U-R, performance.com.
Missed the Blues game? Want to hear the highlights? Need player reaction? Want more analysis and opinion? It's all here on Curbside, your next day post-game podcast with the voice of the St. Louis Blues, Chris Kerber. Catch new episodes of Curbside every morning after every Blues game at 101ESPN.com or on the 101 mobile app. Curbside is presented by Bellman Automotive. For the best price on a new Buick, GMC, Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, or a used vehicle, shop Bellman in Troy. Online at Bellman.com. You can't do better than Bellman. WXOS HD1 East St. Louis. 101 ESPN is driven by Auto Centers Nissan, home of the lifetime warranty and 30-day return. Buckle up. This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN. It's time for the Fast Lane's biggest question of the day. Presented by Banner Construction, the experts in James Hardy siding.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane. I'm Carey Davis, joined by Andrew Marsh and Bradford Bruns. And Bradford has our biggest question of the day.
Well, guys, it may be March the 18th, but things are coming up roses right now for those St. Louis Cardinals when it comes to the starting pitching department. Today, down in Florida, you had Kyle Leahy, who has been confirmed as a member of the starting five to open 2026. 5 scoreless innings, 6 strikeouts. Matthew Liberatore also announced as the opening day starter next Thursday on the 26th against Tampa Bay at Busch Stadium. But I wanted to pivot today in the 5 o'clock hour to the guy so many individuals thought would be the presumptive ace for the 2026 season. That would be Dustin May. And yesterday in that matchup against the Nationals, another stellar start for the acquisition from the offseason. 5 innings, 1-run ball. His ERA for the spring, guys, is down to 1.54. So let's just say, let's predict and let's hope that this is the version the Cardinals get to open March, April, throughout the summer. You hang on to them, or maybe you try to get that much more in return. If Dustin May is an alpha and healthy, how much does that change the complexion, your view of the rotation, and the Cardinals' chances in this division overall?
I mean, I think it helps it tremendously if he ends up being a guy that you can rely on every time he takes the mound. I just think that changes everything for this rotation. And, you know, with him being in the league for quite some time, despite, you know, having injury issues and whatnot, you know, he's still older than most of the guys in that rotation. I just think that he can bring a certain perspective for these guys, and they look to him like, hey, every time that maybe there's some skids or something's going on with this team, that you can look to him and he can sort of correct that, much like we looked towards Sonny Gray last year. I think I'm really excited about what this guy can provide. I think everybody this spring has done a pretty they've done a decent job getting me hyped up for what this rotation could look like. And with him not being the opening day starter, I think they show a lot of faith in Matthew Liberatore. So, I mean, there's 2 guys right there that you're really looking at. I really love Michael McGreevy, what he can bring to the table. Obviously, you see what Kyle Leahy does today and what he can bring to the table. I think the bigger question mark throughout that rotation, at least for me, is Andre Palante. I really don't have any questions surrounding Dustin May. As long as he can stay healthy, maybe that is the question, his health. But the dude has stuff. He has a great arm. He can get it up there. I think that he can really keep this team afloat, at least for the first months of the season.
I think the level of excitement for the pitching staff is, it's been really high. I think people are more excited about that. But I do also know, Marsha, you know this, you can't win games 0-0, man.
But you could win 1-0, Carey.
How you gonna score 1?
Maybe you walk a few times. There's a pass ball.
Little league baseball.
A sacrifice fly. You only need 1 to win. You only need 1 to win.
I hope that we do see a really, outstanding starting rotation and pitching staff as a whole. I'm Jamie. I'm hoping that they all go out there and do a fantastic job. I am concerned because if you're unable to, there's only so much you can do. Right, as a starting pitcher, in terms of keeping your team in games, especially if the bats are silent night after night. We just saw it, yesterday. I mean, yesterday is a prime example. Your 3 through 7 hitters go 0 for 17 in the World Baseball Classic. Even with your 2-hole hitter hitting a huge 2-run home run to tie the game up, if those guys don't hit, no matter how much good pitching you get.
I will say, if Dustin May is the only guy that really shows flashes throughout the season, I don't know if that's a win for the Cardinals in terms of getting everybody else up to speed in terms of where you want them to be. Yes, he would make for a great trade candidate come the trade deadline, but ultimately, I don't know if you necessarily want him to be your best pitcher. Would you agree with that?
Dustin May?
Dustin May.
I would want him to be my best pitcher.
You would want him? Okay.
Yeah. I think even though he's not the opening day starter, and I know, Bradford, you mentioned this, I still think he could be the ace, right? Even though you didn't slate him to be game one starter of the opening day starter.
Right.
If you were to make it to the playoffs and he's performing at the level that we think he should be or want him to be, he would probably be your game one starter. So I think he can still be the ace, and I would love for him to be. I mean, I would love for him to be your best pitcher. I think he has the most upside. But I will say this. If he isn't your best pitcher, if he's second or third, you might be cooking with something then.
Well, that's sort of my point. Yeah. Not so much that he is the only one that is performing. It's more so other guys in that rotation, your internal guys that you already had in the system, are outperforming him, but he is also having a good season.
It would be a good problem to have.
Yes.
Essentially, I want him whenever available, though. That's the key thing. And Marsha, you touched upon it. When available, I want him to be the horse. I want him to be the ace. I want him to be the number one and the guy. But the reality is that Dustin May, guys, he has never made more than 25 appearances in a single major league season. Now, granted, he's only 28,
man.
And through no fault of his own, that's how he has experienced so many of these issues. But it wasn't that long ago when you go back to the 2020 World Series, and don't give me the whole Lakers line about it being a Mickey Mouse World Series in
That's
light
only basketball.
of the pandemic. All right, fair.
That's only basketball.
Carey, we're just moving beyond
They
that.
were in a bubble, man. That don't count.
Was Dustin May not a key cog in the Dodgers bullpen configuration to win the entire thing? This guy has been held in the highest esteem for a long time. What has derailed him? The lack of availability. So if he is out there for you for however long he is in that uniform with the birds on the bat, you want him to be the leader of this staff. One more thing for you guys today from the game actually that concluded around the top of our show. From the mound to guys who, young guys for that matter, contributing at the plate and in the field. We've made a decent amount of a deal here out of the struggles of Victor Scott II, in all likelihood the starting center fielder to begin this season so far this year in spring. You could say the same about a lot of guys offensively. Somebody who showed out today, and I think we're starting to get a little more excited about this young man too, acquired in the Brendan Donovan deal, 2023 first-round pick, number 30 overall, 20-year-old Ty Pete. He slugged one, and I mean slugged it today, to put the Cardinals up 2-1 in a game they eventually won 4-1. As we start to consider the overall picture of the outfield, how much time do we spend on Jordan Walker? How much time do we devote to Lars Nootbaar? When is he going to be available? In center field, when do you start to consider the notion of who could be next? VS2 has the obvious defense. He has the obvious tools. When are you ready to have that convo, though?
For me, I'm a ways away. Like I just think the caliber of his defense weighs heavily, in my opinion. And obviously, you want guys to hit. You don't want to see, and they don't want to struggle. You don't want to see guys hitting 170 or 165. Like that's not fun. But I think the Gold Glove caliber defense that Victor Scott provides keeps him in the lineup, despite maybe some of his struggles that he could potentially face offensively.
For me, we have these questions surrounding Jordan Walker. You just mentioned Victor Scott, other players and whatnot. But I don't know if we can be ready to move on until there is somebody knocking on the door and telling us they are ready to take that spot.
Indeed.
So we can go back and forth with, well, this guy needs to, they need to move on from this guy. They need to move on from this guy. They need to move on from that guy. Well, who are you going to put in there?
You got to have people that are coming up trying to remove those current players from their current spots. And if you don't have that, then you roll with what you got until it's all said and done. And I think, Victor Scott, again, defensively, he's outstanding. So hopefully the offense does, play at some point.
And what's nice, though, is that at minimum, and we're not talking about, no disrespect, a Nathan Church who was championed for a cup of coffee last year, but maybe down the line, down the road, if you're talking about Ty Pete, former first-rounder, he's just 20. He has upside galore. Maybe if you're talking about Ryan Mitchell, last year's second-round draft selection, 55th overall, uber athletic. If the pressure comes within the next year or two, that's a good conversation to have.
For sure.
Indeed. The NCAA men's basketball tournament tips off this week, and you can watch the games this Thursday and Friday with 101 ESPN and Bud Light. This Thursday, join BK and Ferrario from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m., then the Fast Lane from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m., broadcasting live from Helen Fitzgerald's. Then on Friday, you can join both shows as they broadcast live from Ray's Sports House in Soulard. Enjoy some food, a cold Bud Light, 101 giveaways, and plenty of screens to watch all of the games. Get more details at 101ESPN.com. Our Madness of March broadcasts are refreshed by Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. And we're going to talk some hoops when we come back. We got, who do we think can gain the most? Which coach can gain the most from a long, deep run in this year's tournament? We'll talk about it next when we return on the Fast Lane.
Start your day with the morning after on 101 ESPN. Get in the know first on everything St. Louis sports with Tim McKernan, Doug Vaughn, and Martin Kilcoy. Listen to TMA weekday mornings from 7 to 11 a.m. on 101 ESPN. The morning after is presented by Brown and Crouppen Law Firm.
New month means new jersey giveaway. Jamie Rivers here, and my next jersey giveaway is a signed Pavel Buchnevich Blues jersey. Enter to win that autographed Buch jersey now at 101ESPN.com or on your 101 ESPN mobile app. Jamie's jersey giveaway is presented by St. Luke's, ranked number 3 in the nation for cardiovascular care by Modern Healthcare. Visit stlukes-stl.com.
Strap yourself in. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane, and as we approach the beginning of the tournament, the real beginning of the tournament, Bradford had a question for us, and he wanted to know which one of these head coaches has the most to gain this March during the tournament run. Bradford, I'm intrigued to know who you think. I have an option. I have a choice in my head, and I think it's probably a simple choice. One of the blue blood programs, a young man who is going in his fourth season as the head coach, and that's the Duke Blue Devils head coach, Jon Scheyer. He is my pick. He's a coach that was ousted in the second round in his first tournament. They made it to the Sweet 16 in the second tournament. Last year, they made it to the Final Four, and here you are, the number 1 overall seed in the tournament this year, and I think the expectations for him to have the most to gain, because I think he does also have the most pressure on him.
I think over the course of 3+ years, he has certainly been able to prove himself, but he's still searching for that validation. You know what I mean? As in, he has taken Duke to this point, but not to the top of the mountain. Until you take Duke fully to the top of the mountain, all of the comparisons, maybe for all time, are still going to be unfavorable to Coach K. But he has the opportunity, Carey, as you said, to really cement his legacy by going all of the way. Last year, Marshy, we understand he was able to advance that team, and he should have, frankly, with Flagg, Knipple, etc., to the Final Four. You drop that contest. It was brutal. It was physical against Houston. But to have had the championship appearance last year, that's what Duke needed. That's what Duke wanted. This season, we know how loaded the East is. And by the same token, I'm looking at all of the coaches who are cluttered, who are absolutely in that mix galore, and so many of them. When you talk about Pitino with St. John's as the 5 seed in the East, when you talk about certainly somebody like Bill Self looking to kind of in a way rectify some of the recent wrongdoing of KU in the NCAA tournament. How about Izzo at Michigan State and Hurley at UConn? These guys already have, though, the accolades and the championships. That hardware still needs to be attained by Jon Scheyer.
And I was going to say real quick, I think there are 7 head coaches that have won championships in this current tournament. 4 of them are in the East. Yeah. Or the 4 you just named. So it's almost like if you want to be the man, you got to beat the man. And I think that's where Jon Scheyer and Duke lie right now.
Yeah, for me, I'm going with a guy who has won a national championship, been to multiple Final Four appearances, has had a few of them vacated. John Calipari, he's with Arkansas. He has not had a team go to the Final Four in over 10 years. So I think for him, and he is one of those guys that, when you think of college basketball for head coaches, his name is up there. I think that this Arkansas team has a good shot of making a decent run in this tournament. And for John Calipari to take an Arkansas team, which was fantastic in the 90s, but that's so long ago. That's almost like basically 30 years now. My birthday's coming up. I always relate my birthday. I believe it was 1995 was the last time they reached the Final Four, won in 1994. For that program to get back to what they once were and John Calipari lead them to a deep run in this tournament, I think that would be very, very nice for him and to sort of get his name back on the board with the rest of these coaches.
Can I give you another name, Bradford, that I'm sure you would probably agree with?
Please, because maybe we're on the same wavelength here.
Kelvin Sampson.
Oh, I like that.
He's a coach that has been to the Final Four a number of times, lost in the final last year, but I mean he's been coach of the year. He's had a ton of success, and maybe I'm saying who needs to win a championship most, as opposed to who needs to make a run. That's kind of where I'm laying on this conversation. Is Kelvin Sampson is an outstanding coach, but he's one of those coaches that I'm sure it just kind of gnaws at him a lot because he's been there more than a couple times, and he has not won the actual championship yet. has had some really good teams this year. Another good team, 2 seed with an opportunity in a bracket that is very winnable, right? You got to go against Florida if you were to make it to the Elite Eight to get to the Final Four because they are in your bracket as well. But a very winnable bracket as well. So I think his name is another name as well.
And I give Kelvin Sampson incredible credit. Say what you will about how it went down ultimately at the previous stop in Oklahoma. We understand that. But as far as taking the program there at Houston, a program that, Carey, and you know this, has decidedly less in the way of resources and NIL-centric funds to really make it happen, to attract the stars of the stars, right? When you're going to Kelvin Sampson and you're committing to Houston now, it's old school in the sense that you have a lot of guys who stick around for 2, 3, even 4 years. So to have come so close last year and not have gotten the job done, that was brutal. Can they make the run this year? I think year in and year out, because of the physical brand of basketball they play, it's a mindset. Basically, you bring guys in, you bring them out, they churn out and so forth, but it's always consistent. It remains the same. I'll grant you Kelvin Sampson. I'll give you one more as well in terms of making a run. Now, by no means do I think this guy is going to be able to take his team all the way. Heck, it's never happened. He's made a grand total in his career of 1 Final Four appearance, but 17 NCAA tournaments. And yet, I'm looking at that West region and the team against which Missouri or Miami could match up in round 2. Doesn't it seem as if year after year we are left wanting more from Matt Painter and Purdue?
Always.
Are you at the point now where you're basically writing that program off, or is there still something there?
This is why I said Mizzou can make it to the Sweet 16, because if you beat Miami and you have to play Purdue, I feel like that's a winnable game.
Thank you.
Because I don't know which version of Purdue is going to show up. Like they can make it to the Final Four championship game, or they could be ousted in the second round. Who knows? Because year after year, I feel like you said, Matt Painter and Purdue are kind of that Jekyll and Hyde team year after year. And it was with Zach Edey. I see you pulling up Zach Edey a couple of years ago. They made it to the championship. But I believe the year before, they lost in the second round, if I'm not mistaken. They lost early in the tournament.
Early exits like 5 years in a row.
Yeah. So
was it
who knows?
Fairleigh Dickinson?
Yeah, was it first round?
Beating them?
Feels
was
right.
It first round?
Let me double check.
It was.
They lost to.
And you went into those seasons ranked in the top 5 each and every year.
Yep. So I don't know which Purdue is going to show up.
Yeah,
but
Fairleigh Dickinson.
Yeah, that was a first round loss, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. So and then the following year, I think they made it to the final. So.
And then they got spanked by another coach that I want to bring up in UConn, Dan Hurley. If they are able to win another national championship, and I know, let's just say last year they took it off, right? A lot of basketball over the last couple of years. But if he can win 3 in what would be 4 seasons, and now he's passionate. We'll call him that. He's a passionate coach. But that is super impressive, especially with NIL and how college sports operates these days. That is incredible if UConn can get the job done, especially in that region.
How fitting is it that the city of Philadelphia, come March 20th, could host the matchup between 2 of the most combustible coaches in the entire country? If UConn makes it, and old Mick Cronin for UCLA. Can Philly, I'm saying Philly, survive that matchup?
Mick Cronin.
If there's ever a place to invite that, it'd be Philly.
Yep.
That's saying something.
It is. That's Bradford Bruns and Andrew Marsh from Carey Davis. Coming up next, we have Joe Vitale joining us from Calgary. Talk some Blues and their game tonight versus the Flames. That'll be next on 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN is powered by Kaufman Townsley, St. Louis's injury lawyers. Call 314-777-7777.
That's 314-777-7777.
The Puck Cancer third period charity hockey game is next Friday night at the Centene Community Ice Center. You can catch the Fast Lane broadcasting live before the game from 2 to 6 p.m. from inside the E&P Granite Studio. Tickets are on sale now for the third annual Puck Cancer Alumni Game organized by Kelly Chase. See the St. Louis Blues alumni face off in a charity game in support of Sightman Cancer Center and the V Foundation for Cancer Research. Grab your tickets for the game now to support those 2 great organizations conversations, and then tune in next Friday afternoon for the Fast Lanes live broadcast from the Centene Community Ice Center. Brought to you by Bud Light, Skimmer's Original Vodka Iced Tea, and by E&P Granite, Bernie Federko's only choice for granite countertops, cabinets, and flooring.
Need parts fast? Need them now? Oh.
Get social with 101 ESPN. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, Threads, Blue Sky, and YouTube at 101 ESPN.
101 ESPN Sports Center.
Blues to battle it out at the Saddle Dome. Good afternoon. I'm Bradford Bruns with the Sports Center update brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. In roughly 3 hours right here on 101 ESPN, STL will take the ice against the 7th place Calgary Flames. Puck drop at 8:30 p.m. Pregame at 7:30 with Alex Ferrario right here on your home for the Note 101 ESPN. More Blues-related chatter coming up next with Joey Vitale. Baseball, the Cardinals dropping Houston today In Grapefruit League action, by the final of 4-1, Ty Pete slugging a solo homer in the 9th inning. It was Kyle Leahy with 5 innings of shutout baseball as the starter, fanning 6. And the Cardinals also announcing that Matthew Liberatore, the lefty, will be picking up the opening day start next Thursday against Tampa Bay at Busch Stadium at 3:15. The SportsCenter update has been brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin heating and air conditioning dealer.
Don't slow down. You're in the fast lane on 101 ESPN. We're talking everything St. Louis Blues as we head into the Blues booth on 101 ESPN. Presented by Boardwalk Hardwood Floors. Find your perfect new floor at boardwalkhardwood.com.
Welcome back to the Fast Lane with Bradford Bruns and Andrew Marsh. I'm Carey Davis, and we go to the Collier and Thompson phone line and talk to our good friend, Blues color analyst for FanDuel Sports, Joey Vitale. Joey V, what's up, brother? How's it going?
Oh, God, Carey. You're spinning the dial. You're doing good, buddy.
I appreciate it, man. I'm working, man. I'm working. The guys left us, man. They left us. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. We're having a good time.
If I'm Stalter, I'm in the beach. I'm getting nervous somewhere.
Well, we're having a good time. They allowed us to run some things here for the last few days. So Stalter will be back on Friday. Jamie will be back, I don't know, Monday maybe. So we're having a good time while we can. How's it going out there in Calgary?
It's good, Carey. It's good, man. It's the trip that will never end, you know. And I feel like we've been on the road for 2 weeks. We've only played the one game. But, you know, it's just one of those weird road trips where you got a game in Winnipeg, 2 days off, game in Calgary, then 2 more days off in Vancouver tomorrow. So to think that we've been on the road for what seems like a long time, you're only looking at only one game played. So that could be a little defeating at times, but all things considered, this is a rested, well-oiled group right now in the St. Louis Blues. I had a good 2 days off here in Calgary, a good practice yesterday, a good morning skate this morning. And like I said, tonight they're looking to take care of business here against the Flames team that they've just completely dominated in the past. I mean, they've won the last 8 against the Flames. There's no opponent that they've dominated more statistically than Calgary. You're hoping to do that more tonight because with the win here, you could potentially put yourself 5 points out of that second wild card spot.
Joe, after the loss to Winnipeg, we sort of had a conversation of, okay, is this the Blues team that essentially we've been accustomed to seeing throughout the season? They struggled offensively a little bit. And outside of the shots, of course, they were just peppering shots, but they were unable to find offense for a majority of that game. Do you think they sort of ran out of steam? Like, we just mentioned the schedule. I mean, they had 3 games in 4 days. You're going from Carolina back home, back out to Winnipeg. I feel like that's a lot within a span of 3-4 days.
Yeah, Marsh, they did run out of steam. And you know what? Winnipeg ran out of steam, too. Every team is running out of steam. That's just the schedule. That's where things are at. You watch that Jets team play. Mm-hmm. They played the day before against the Avalanche. I said on the broadcast about halfway through the second period, that Winnipeg just had no legs. They were just waiting. Hopefully that 2-0 lead would hold out. And they were waiting to lose that game. And St. Louis made it interesting with the one goal deficit there a couple times. And unfortunately, just couldn't find that last one. That game to me was a complete synopsis of 2 teams in the midst of a massive grind, both teams out of the playoff spot, trying to find legs, trying to find that push late. And unfortunately for St. Louis, Winnipeg had their top 2 guys with some breakaways that took advantage, and St. Louis had some chances. They outplayed Winnipeg. They deserved to win that game. But like Jim Montgomery said, you dominate facets of the game, but you still got to be really good at the big parts and the big moments, and those are in front of your net, and the timeliness of some of the goals and some of the shots and breakaways you allowed. The Blues looking to clean up that here a little bit here tonight, and hopefully get this road trip back on the right foot.
And they did lose, but I felt as if if the hockey game was 62, 63 minutes instead of 60. I feel like the Blues end up tying that game, perhaps winning it in overtime. But the way that they have been clawing back in games, even going back to the Edmonton game, I feel like that's something that we have not seen for a majority of the year. It's great to see that now.
Yeah, there's certainly a group right now that's that's motivated. They're thriving under the signs of adversity that they've had to really embrace for the last few weeks, go back to even pre-trade deadline. It's a group that is still trying to work on spreading its wings. And what does that look like? Without your captain and your associate captain there and Justin Falk, talked to Robert Thomas a little bit this morning outside his locker room stall and just kind of asked about the leadership. What's it been like? And he said it's been a leadership by committee, and everyone's been stepping up. Jim Montgomery pointed to Robert specifically that he's been more vocal. Now, Robert was too humble to admit that he has, but he kind of deferred to his teammates saying, you young guys have stepped up in a little way. No one's going outside their comfort zone and bringing that leadership quality that Braden had. But with everyone bringing this a little bit, he feels like that leadership, which of course turns into battling through adversity, Marsh, to your point, of coming back from these two-goal deficits. To me, that's what it's about. He pointed specifically to Dylan Holloway, even a young player in Jimmy Snuggerud, who's a rookie. So I think when you free up the locker room with some veterans, it is hard. It is disappointing. There are going to be growing pains. But that also allows young players to kind of look around the room and say, geez, I'm not really the young guy anymore. I'm kind of the guy, if you will, if you're Dylan Holloway or Philip Broberg. And I think that's the reins that I think Doug Armstrong and Alexander Steen, they wanted to see what they had. And I'm seeing really good spurts and good signs of it. This is a group that is pushing in the right direction. They are motivated. There's a sense of spirit here. And, again, for everything they've gone through and will continue to go through down this stretch, they're going to need it, because it's going to be tough going here. And if they're not out of the question, it's not impossible. Guys, look at the standings. I know it's crazy. They're 7 points out of a playoff spot. That seems wild to me. Especially you lose 10 road games in a row throughout December, January, and February. You've gone through some tough stretches, and you're still just 7 points out. Again, a win tonight puts you 5 points out. And you know what? It's not that crazy because it seems like no one wants to grab that wild card spot. San Jose lost last night. Seattle lost last night. LA's been losing. I mean, it is wild to think that so many teams, Nashville, Winnipeg, the Blues, all fighting for that same spot. To me, it's if you can get a really hot goaltender. I know Joe Hofer's excited about the game tonight. You get a hot goaltender, you roll the dice, and you hope and pray that some teams above you lose some games. The point is you're going to be playing some exciting, meaningful hockey down the stretch these last 3 to 4 weeks.
Well, Joe, let's talk about even more of those youngsters. As you stated, Joel Hofer returning to the net tonight, but Jim Montgomery is making a trio of lineup changes to the skaters. Otto Stenberg among those checking back in, but the flip side is that Jonathan Berggren obviously is out. So what about this matchup against the Flames? Or maybe are we reading a little too much into it as to why Berggren, somebody who's been effective, who's obviously been there on the score sheet for the last couple of games, he's out and momentarily his spot is taken. What's to that?
Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Is that Brady?
That is.
You met me last weekend, remember?
Holy, buddy. Get you a seat. You get a seat. You get a seat right next to me. That was a great question. Hey, I tell you what. You know what? There's a lot of pieces that Jim Montgomery's playing with right now. Andy Strickland asked him this morning in the hallway, said, a lot of bodies. How do you manage all this? He said it's hard. And it is hard. You got healthy bodies. You got healthy veterans. I mean, yesterday in practice, you had a veteran group wearing a different colored jersey, and Oscar Sundquist, including in those names Nathan Walker. It's hard for these players. Berggren's another one of them. For these players to be sitting on the outside, wanting to be in, wanting to make a difference. So that's the tough part. And for Jim Montgomery, he's got a healthy group. He's got a lot of bodies. He's got to manage not only who's playing really well now. A part of that is who's in the future. Theo Lindstein, for example, he's young, he's raw, but they got to keep him in because he's playing with Colton Parayko and he's getting great experience. You look at a player like Otto Stenberg. Has Berggren, in some ways, maybe outplayed him a little bit, probably in the offensive zone especially. But Otto Stenberg is a young, first rounder, right? A lot more years ahead of him. He's a part of this big picture. So for coaches, it's not just about who's playing well in the moment, because certainly Stenberg is, and so is Berggren. I mean, he's had the last 2 games and 2 primary assists on the first goal of the game, which got the Blues back in the game. So there's good things from all over the place, but I think Jim Montgomery he's got to trust his instincts. He's got to trust the communication with Alexander Steen about the right guys to put in the right positions to ultimately not grow not only this year, but for years beyond.
Joey, last question for me, and we can whisper this when we say it. This is game number 11, and this will be the 7th start for Joe Hofer in comparison to 4 for Jordan Bennington. Are we seeing the shift happen right in front of our eyes?
We are. Yeah, we are, Carey. We definitely are. And I think Jordan's okay with that. I think Jordan knows that he's got a year or two in prime. I think Jordan wants to be a St. Louis Blue. I think one day he is going to absorb that backup goaltender position. He's totally okay with that. And Joe Hofer is just the real deal. I'm telling you got to get him more games, get him more experience, because he's just a stud. I can't wait to see him back in the cage here tonight.
You can check out Joe tonight. Pre-game starts at 7:30. Puck will drop at 8:30. Calgary Flames taking on the Blues. Joey, thank you so much for joining us. We'll be listening. We'll be watching. Talk to you next week.
Appreciate you, boys. Have a great week.
Thank you. Have a great one.
Thanks, Joe.
Well, I guess we'll see. We're starting to see some transition happen right in front of our eyes. That's pretty interesting, fellas.
So I have a round-trip ticket already purchased for Bradford, as he will make his debut, probably not tonight, but as the Blues take on the Vancouver Canucks on Saturday. Bradford in the booth for the Blues.
Marshy, I'm wearing a lot of hats these days. I don't know if I...
That'd be fun.
Oh, boy.
Well, like I said, we're going to wrap up the show. Blues take on the Flames tonight, 7:30 pregame. Puck will drop at 8:30. We come back. We have what we learned today and the 3 stars of the day. That's next on 101 ESPN.
College basketball is on ESPN. Tomorrow night, the first round coverage begins at 6. The NCAA plays on 101 ESPN. yourself to be the morning after listener of the month, and you could be selected and score a Form Energy prize pack. Sign up now at 101ESPN.com or TMASTL.com. The TMA Listener of the Month Club is presented by Form Energy. We do the work. This is the Fast Lane on 101 ESPN.
If you missed anything from today's show, you can always download the podcast available on 101ESPN.com or via the Dobbs Tire and Auto Center 101 ESPN mobile app. All the podcasts are brought to you by Shaver Door Company. Time to find out what we learned today. Bradford, what did you learn today?
Well, guys, I learned this was actually a very, very late in the show reveal, but I'm glad that it was brought to my attention at roughly 5:35. Per Joe Vitale, I joined the station of 101 ESPN.
There you go.
But the great news is that when it comes time for Puck Drop Saturday in Vancouver, I've been promoted in a hurry, gentlemen. See ya.
So,
Marcy, what'd you learn today?
this guy? Let's see. What did I learn today? I learned that the Cardinals have a ton of faith in Matthew Liberatore. He was named the opening day starter today. Congratulations to him. Congratulations to Kyle Leahy, who goes from the bullpen to the starting rotation. Also pitched really good today in spring training against the Astros. So I learned that the Cardinals have their guy who I'm assuming they deem to be their number one guy. I think we think that Dustin May is the number one guy. But, I mean, if you're starting opening day, I think that says a lot about the faith that the club has in you. So.
Yeah. Good for him. I'm happy that he's getting that opportunity, starting against his former team, the team that traded him, the big hubbub of the Randy Arozarena trade, and who won it, and we still are here trying to figure it out. So hopefully he has a great outing and a great season, and it starts next Thursday on opening day. We'll see how he goes. What I learned today is that phosphorus is the second leading mineral in your body.
Behind
calcium.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't know where potassium is. That's what I chose. Clearly, it's not one or two.
Down the way.
Oh, hell
You
no.
got to eat more bananas.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. More bananas. You feel better. I won't cramp up. I used to cramp up a lot when I played. So, like, when they're talking about Darren Peterson, like his cramps and all of that for KU.
Cramps.
Listen, man. Cramps are a real deal, real issue. I caught one a couple of nights ago, and my fiance Cashay was like, why are you still limping? I'm like, because I'm in pain. She's like, my cramps
like
on
a Charlie horse?
A Charlie horse, yes.
You ever get those in bed?
Yes, I was in bed.
So you were in bed.
Yes.
Okay.
I reached down to try to pick up the remote, and my whole damn leg locked up.
Ooh.
And I was in bad shape, man. I am a huge cramper. I cramp a lot.
You guys knew that
when I
BK
played.
out at Centene a couple months ago, he was going through it. I mean, he'll readily admit, coming back into his segment, Tanner, Alex right there.
Cramped up.
He's launching
Locked
into
up.
an impassioned defense of the Missouri Tigers or something like that. Oh, it hit.
I got to ask him about that.
Sorry,
listen,
buddy.
Wait,
it hurts.
Are you supposed to eat bananas for cramps?
Yeah, so
Okay.
It helps.
you need salt, you need sodium, potassium. That generally helps. I would have to, when I played, I would have to, like, take certain things pregame, and I would also have to calm down. Like, I learned that my body, for whatever reason, I would be so, like, jacked up and so excited that I would lock up. Like, I would just, okay, that's not going to work. So I had to learn how to pace myself instead of jumping right into it.
Anytime I'm in bed and I stretch out, you get that cramp right there in your lower leg, a lower body injury in bed.
Yeah.
The worst.
Well, and like I think you're supposed to get up and kind of walk around.
You
and
have to
stuff.
walk.
I ain't doing that, man.
I
I'm
walk.
comfortable in bed. I'll just and I start shaking in bed. Would you rather get one in your leg or in your foot?
Foot is okay. I can deal with my foot. I would rather it be in my foot, but when it's in your legs,
Yeah, not the leg altogether. No.
it's bad, man.
No.
Hard to walk, hard to do anything. Bradford, do we have any compliments or complaints?
We have a couple. The people love their Joe Vitale, especially in the 5 o'clock hour on a Blues game day. Mahomes, long body, the 314 weighing in. Joey is the absolute best. And in the Snake Pit, too, Walrus King, appreciative of a lot of the college basketball conversation we had. We did really run the gamut today, guys. We had college hoops, both locally and nationally. Tons of Cardinals convo. Slipped in a little football as per usual, and the Blues. Love the balance today.
We'll get into it tomorrow as well, because we are at Helen Fitzgerald's, and we're going to be watching some basketball, talking some basketball, enjoying some time down there with the good folks. Come and check us out. Us and the BK and Ferrario show will be down there. Come have a great time. Bradford, you got the 3 stars of the day.
It's time for the Fast Lane's 3 stars of the day, presented by Circus Sports. No bet fees ever with the world's largest sports book, now at your fingertips in Illinois and Missouri.
Well, Carey, you already referenced as much. Phosphorus, a huge part of today's show during the Gauntlet, but the 3rd star of the day goes to the subject of the only question that both our friend Shane and Carey nailed. 80s icon Tiffany. Tiffany checking in. I think we're alone now.
I thought we were gonna get sousaphone. Is that what it was? Is that what it's called?
That modified tuba. Yeah, that's what it's called.
Sousaphone. Maybe that's a star. Sorry, I don't want to spoil it.
That's all right. No, honorable mention. We'll say honorable mention, because star number 2 goes to, well, we'll just say it, Roto Grip It and Rip It. We navigated that slippery lane with BT. Appearance number 1 of the season. Many more to come.
Yeah, by the way, that Simonson fellow, who is ranked number 1, lost one particular event, 7-10 split, and then he bounced back with a little revenge in a different tournament, ended up winning that one. So shout out to that guy.
The Roto Gripper.
That's the team name, yeah, Roto Grip.
Roto Grip. All right.
Not to be confused with Morning Grip, of course.
Yeah, we don't want to confuse
Of course
with
not.
that.
No. And we know it's time to go. But first star of the day, a huge day at that for St. Louis and its starting 5. Matthew Liberatore announced as the opening day starter next Thursday against the Tampa Rays. And today, Kyle Leahy, 5 scoreless innings. So the first star will go to the Cardinals and their various fits in the starting rotation.
Well played, well played. Blues pregame will start at 7:30. Puck drops at 8:30. You can catch it all here. We will be at Helen Fitzgerald's tomorrow. Check us out. Listen to us. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, enjoying the show. For Bradford Bruns, for Andrew Marsh, for Jamie Rivers, and Anthony Stalter, I am Carey Davis. Peace.
The bracket is out. Show off your tourney knowledge and play in this year's Bracket Madness Pick'em Challenge. It's free to enter, and this year's top scorer will take home a $250 Amazon gift card and a 101 prize pack. Must be 21 plus and a resident of Missouri or Illinois. See the contest rules and get signed up to play in Bracket Madness now at 101ESPN.com.
Brought to you by Bud Light. Easy to drink, easy to enjoy.